Hey guys. This is part 6 of What If Naruto Was the Heir of Hashirama. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start. Chapter 20, It begins. The sun was rising over Konoha as a lone figure sat atop the Hokage's mountain. The figure looked like the spitting image of the Yondaime Hokage, with only whisker marks and violet eyes to distinguish between the two. It was Naruto sitting atop his father's stone head wearing his Anbu uniform, though his mask was situated on the side of his head. The young Anbu captain woke up early this morning to clear his head, just like every morning since the Sky Ninja raid. Naruto watched Konoha beginning to come to life with the start of the day. Businesses opening, people entering the streets, and the occasional ninja or two scampering to their missions. A few weeks had passed since the Sky Ninja raid, and Naruto was still thinking about his conversation with Sasuke. Flashback 3 weeks ago. Tsukuyami, Moon Reader, thought Sasuke. In a pitch-black world, Naruto was dragged into a pitch-black world where his body was inverted in colors. Naruto looked around the world slightly as he noticed he was in a genjutsu. Sasuke knows that I can easily get out of genjutsu. Even with this technique, I'd still be able to get out of this, thought Naruto as he channeled his chakra. The world cracked immensely but did not break. Naruto was impressed as he channeled his chakra once more. The pitch-black world held firm for a second time. Naruto was prepared to do it again and again until he broke the genjutsu, but Sasuke's voice stopped him. Naruto, wait. There's something I need to tell you, said Sasuke, appearing in the field next to Naruto beside his Susanoo. Do you know the reason why I left the village? Because if not, I'll tell you right now, as I hope you remember your promise of helping me. Yes, I remember what I promised you I'd do whenever you went after Itachi. I figured there was a reason that you left the village, since that squad of Anbu attacked me before I could return with you, said Naruto before asking the question he knew Sasuke wanted him to. Was it an S-rank mission that Byakugan sent you on? You're right that it was an S-rank mission, but Hokage-sama didn't sanction it, said Sasuke as Naruto looked confused. What do you know about Root? Never heard of it. Root is an officially disbanded branch of Konoha's Anbu founded by Danzo Shimura. We in Root carry out missions that Danzo believes will benefit Konoha, but only in total anonymity, and without the village's authorization. Missions that wouldn't normally be done, as some of them are very dirty, and could paint a bad image of Konoha. It's a very secret organization, and only the Hokage and the village elders knew of its continued existence. If it's so secret, then why would you tell me about it? Said Naruto before adding, and if it is so secret, I'm sure there would be countermeasures to ensure no one would talk. You're right. Normally there would be a cursed seal on a member of Root, but due to the mission I was sent on, he took it off so that I wouldn't be found out. Plus, he never figured I'd meet you in a situation like this, said Sasuke, answering the last part of Naruto's question first. I'm telling you this now because of Danzo. The reason I joined Root was due to his promise of helping me grow strong enough to face Itachi and learning the truth of his actions during the massacre. It also gave me a way to protect Konoha. But Danzo is not someone I trust, so I'll need assistance from someone just in case he ever turns his back on me. So what is this mission exactly? To get in with Orochimaru and bring back any secrets he may have learned in his stint away from Konoha, while also leaking back information to Konoha to use for sacking his bases? Said Naruto as Sasuke nodded his head. I was tasked as the leader of an Anbu squad assigned with dealing with their destruction. I did always wonder how we got their location, as they were placed in areas of extreme secrecy and difficulty to access to the outside world. Orochimaru may be a twisted individual, but he is also wise, and as such, Konoha may have never found any of his bases where he carried out his experiments. That's why I've been doing it in secret all these years, said Sasuke before turning gravely serious. But that's not all of my mission. The end part of it is to assassinate the Sannin. Naruto's face became more serious hearing this. Why not just kill him now or beforehand? I'm sure you're strong enough. I can feel it. Not to mention the power of those eyes you hold, said Naruto as Sasuke shook his head slightly. Had I killed him before now, I wouldn't have been able to gather information on his bases and his curse seal, plus things like it. If we're going to kill Orochimaru, then we will erase him with finality. Leave no way for him to return or any of his experiments to freely move around. That makes sense. Someone like Orochimaru is bound to do all he can to ensure he can never truly die, which is why I'll need your help. There's no way Orochimaru couldn't know that I'd be attempting to kill him. I'm guessing he likes the reward more than the risk. Of course I'll be there, said Naruto as he then realized something. Speaking of risk, how is your eyesight? How could you know about that? Asked Sasuke as Naruto shrugged. I have my ways, said Naruto as he was referencing his time spent with Hashirama, who told him all about the Uchiha clan and the Mangekyo Sharingan. You've been using those eyes, and from the way you immediately placed me under this genjutsu, I'm guessing you found a cure of sorts? You're well informed about my clan's secrets, said Sasuke with a small smirk. My eyes are fine, for now. You're helping me with that. I'm helping? How could I be? Said Naruto until he felt something very familiar to him inside of Sasuke. How? Do you know about the legend of the Sage of Six Paths and the Jubi Ten Tails? Said Sasuke as Naruto shook his head. It seems history is forgotten as time passes, but there is a relic that showed me the truth and the reality of this world. One that was written by the sage himself. Only those who possess visual prowess like myself can find out the truth from the tablet. The sage was able to defeat the Jubi, but as it was an immortal creature he could not kill it, leaving him with only one option. Naruto pieced the puzzle together. Only one option to stop a giant unkillable beast? Kind of familiar to the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. The sage sealed the beast and created a Jinchuriki. Yes, into himself. Time passed and the sage's life was coming to an end, so to save the world from the eventual resurgence of the Jubi, the sage divided its chakra up into 9 different pieces. Those different pieces later came to be known as the Bijou, such as the Kyuubi. The sage then sealed the husk of the Jubi into what is now known as the moon before passing away. If the sage could do something like that on his deathbed, then how powerful could he be? Asked Naruto as Sasuke shook his head. I have no clue. He was the first ninja born with chakra and also Jinchuriki of the most powerful entity ever known. His power could be limitless. Plus he is also our ancestor. The power of the senju and Uchiha birthed directly from him, said Sasuke as Naruto was listening intently. The senju and Uchiha were originally one and the same inside of the Sage of Six Paths. The sage had 2 sons, one the ancestor of the senju and the other the ancestor of the Uchiha clan. The senju were given the body of the sage consisting of his vitality and physical energy, while the Uchihas inherited the mind consisting of his visual prowess and spiritual energy. Naruto continued putting the pieces together in his head. If what you're saying is true, then that makes us very distant relatives. And if those are my cells in that patch on your shoulder, it must lessen the effect on your eyes while also helping you recover faster due to my chakra and life force, said Naruto as Sasuke nodded. When did you acquire something like that from me? During our battle at the Valley of the End. Despite losing that last struggle, my Chidori did pierce your shoulder slightly, granting me access to your cells, which contained healing powers. But don't think that just because I have access to your chakra doesn't mean I can use any of your abilities or that my eyes don't lose their sight when I use them. It just lessens the effect considerably to keep me from getting too blind before I find the solution to fix my eyes permanently. Your brother's eyes? Questioned Naruto knowingly as Sasuke shook his head in amusement. You know way too much, Naruto. But you're right. However, our time here is coming to an end. I'm not too good at using this genjutsu, and can only advert time by a few minutes. Can I count on your assistance in helping me? Asked Sasuke as Naruto sat for a little while contemplating Sasuke's question. Naruto then stood while putting a fist out. Sasuke grew a slight smile as he fist bumped his best friend. One more thing. Hokage-sama seemed to know about the plan since she only sent that group of ninjas with you. I'd check that if I were you. Flashback end. It all makes sense. Yugao-senpai had just come back to the village and could have easily been sent out in the retrieval of Sasuke. Yet Bie-chan sent out 3 genins and 2 rookie chunins to retrieve him without any knowledge of the opponent's skills. It's hard to believe that Bie-chan didn't even feel like telling me about this or even root. She probably knew something like this would happen when I was talking to her that night about how Sasuke was acting fishy. Thought Naruto as he felt a slight breeze flow through the air, causing his hair to sway. An Umbu appeared kneeling on the mountain behind him. Yes? Gama Taicho, Hokage-sama requests your presence, said the Umbu as he vanished right after relaying the message. Naruto nodded before vanishing in a shunshin to the Hokage tower. He came up through the floorboards of Tsunade's office as he addressed his leader. Hokage-sama, said Gama as Tsunade looked up to see her favorite Umbu. Hello Gama, please take off your mask as it won't be needed for what I'm about to ask of you, said Tsunade as Naruto took off his mask and placed it back on the side of his head. Good, now your code name for this mission will be Sake. There was a moment of silence as Naruto and Tsunade stared at each other with straight faces. Several seconds passed until Naruto's lip quivered upwards slightly. Ha, I win this round, Gaki. That's another point for me, said Tsunade as she marked down a tally mark next to her name in a book she retrieved from her drawer. That now puts me in the lead, brat. Damn. I'll get you next time, said Naruto as he then slumped in the chair in front of his aunt. So what did you need me for? Oh right. I need you to go to Suna for another visit. Suna? Why Sunagakure? More alliance talks that won't go through, that haven't gone through since their failed invasion? Asked Naruto as he felt a familiar presence approaching the room. A presence of the Jinchuriki kind. Wait, she's here? You and a representative from our alliance with Kumo are going to go to Sunagakure. Suna appointed a Kage a little over 6 months ago, and he has sent a request to finalize the alliance. And I'm sending you to deliver our response while Kumo is sending someone as per the Konoha-Kumo alliance agreement, informed Tsunade as a knock came at the door. Come in. The door opened acknowledging Tsunade's request. Naruto turned and his pupils dilated at who he saw. Hello, Hokage-dano. Hello, Naruto-kun. The greeting came from a sweet voice that Naruto considered his favorite. Hey Yugi-chan, said Naruto cutting off Tsunade, who should have went first but realized Naruto was excited to see his girlfriend. You're the Kumo representative? Of course I am, said Yujito as she looked to the third blonde in the room. Are we ready to go, Hokage-dano? I'm guessing Naruto-kun will be Konoha's representative? Tsunade nodded her head as she took out a scroll and flung it at Naruto. Yes ma'am. Have fun you two and please get there safely. Just because the Akatsuki isn't scheduled for a few months, doesn't mean they can't surprise us, said Tsunade as Naruto caught the fast-stone scroll. See you when you come back. Naruto nodded his head as he escorted Yujito out of the office. As they were walking out, Sakura walked past the two with a greeting. Tsunade-sama, are you sure it's wise to send Naruto on that mission with Yujito without backup? They could get captured by the enemy or something else. They could also, they might, stammered Sakura as Tsunade halted her apprentice with a hand. I know it's dangerous, Sakura. But I don't think there is anyone who could take out Naruto. Let alone Naruto and Yujito together. Even Itachi Uchiha and his partner would have problems, said Tsunade as she went back to her paperwork. And about that last part, Naruto's been acting weird since the Sky Ninja assault, and this will be perfect for him. Maybe Yujito will help get him out of his funk. Sakura nodded her head at her sensei's words. Wait, what? Land of Wind 2 days later. Mokutan, Shichuka no Jutsu, wood style, 4-pillar house technique. Wood rose out of the ground in tall pillars, molding itself into a perfect wooden house. Naruto picked Yujito up bridal style as he kicked open the door to the newly built house. Naruto stood with Yujito in his arms as he then looked at his girlfriend. Yujito gave a hum before shaking her head. No, I don't feel it, said Yujito as Naruto nodded his head in agreement. I know right, something's off, said Naruto setting Yujito down while closing the door to the newly built house. I don't know what it is but it just doesn't seem like it's right. Ah well, I'm sure with enough practice, I'll get it down. Yujito nodded while taking off the cloak she was wearing to keep the sun off her skin. Yujito and Naruto entered the Land of Wind and were only a day away from Sunagakure. The two Jinchuriki decided to rest for the remainder of the day as they were running for the majority of it racing to Suna. The shift between the Land of Fire and Land of Wind happened immediately, and the landscape was unforgiving, requiring the use of a cloak to shield oneself from the blazing sun and harsh conditions of the desert. Yujito walked into the main room of the newly created house while Naruto walked off into the bathroom to shower. As Yujito unpacked her belongings from the scroll in her ninja pouch, she looked around at the house Naruto created just now in mere seconds. Naruto-kun's Mokutan ability has improved, thought Yujito looking at the detail of the house compared to the one he created over a year ago in Kumo. I mean, this house is amazing and it seems like he barely even put effort into making it. This is something royals would live in. Mokutan was simply an amazing Kekai Genkai. The power to build or the power to destroy. It had no equal. Naruto could subdue beings as powerful as the Bijou or spawn beauty such as this house if he so chose. It was incredible. You're right, kitten. You're totally right. Came the voice of Yujito's Bijou companion, Matatabi. He even had the decency to create a queen-sized bed for you too. I know you've been wanting to finally claim him ever since this trip started. I've heard your thoughts, so don't even try to lie about it. Yujito smiled internally at her Bijou as she heard the door to the bathroom open. Yujito turned her head to see Naruto walking out of the bathroom in a simple shirt, boxers with faces of toads everywhere, and his nightcap that had the design of a toad swallowing the top part of his head. Yujito chuckled slightly seeing him in that ridiculous attire again. Naruto stretched and yawned as he looked at the amused Yujito. Yugi-chan. I'll be here if you need me. I'm tired, said Naruto as he plopped face first onto one side of the bed. With Naruto laying face down on the bed, He didn't notice Yujito's smirk as she slipped into the bathroom. Naruto laid with his face buried snugly into the bed for about 3 minutes until he heard a voice in his head. "Naruto," said Kurama in Naruto's head. Naruto didn't move outwardly but grunted internally to acknowledge that he was listening. "When are you going to confront that senju lady about what that Uchiha brat told you?" "I will, Kurama. In due time." "Well, hurry it up then. You're getting on my nerves with the way you've been acting lately. You're limiting yourself by having that cloud over you for the past few weeks." "I know. Even Yugi-chan has noticed. It's just hard. To think that someone you trust did something like that without telling you is tough to swallow," said Naruto back to Kurama. Kurama took what Naruto said into consideration. "You're right. But why not hear her side of the story? Find out why she made the decision she made? That way you can finally get over what's been plaguing you since seeing that Uchiha boy again." "Kurama, when did you get all emotional and begin to help me with my personal problems?" asked Naruto as he then smirked into the bed he was laying in. "You must really like me. I knew we were friends." "Kurama? Kurama?" said Naruto to his bijou. "Did he cut the connection on me? I never knew he could do that. So that's what that feels like. I guess I'll talk to him later." "Hello, Naruto-kun," came the sultry voice of Yujito as the door to the bathroom closed. Yujito was dressed in one of Naruto's t-shirts that had the Senju clan crest laid on the back with her white necklace that matched Naruto's green one. Due to Naruto being bigger than Yujito, the shirt Yujito was wearing only hung down low enough to cover Yujito's backside, where you could see a pretty pair of blue panties peeking underneath. "Mind if I join you?" Yujito had never seen Naruto move so fast. Naruto heard the word "I," followed by the word "join," and already concluded that she was going to ask to join him. Naruto was now under the bedsheets, lifting part of it to allow Yujito entrance. Yujito crawled into the bed happily as she snuggled her way over to Naruto in the middle of the bed. "You're warm," said Yujito with a contented sigh as she nuzzled her way into Naruto a little further. "So I've been told," said Naruto, pulling Yujito in further with one of his arms. "One of the many perks, I guess, when you're dealing with a guy with a near-omnipotent bijou resting in his stomach. Or mind? Since I go into my mindscape to talk with him? I don't know, one of the two. Speaking of bijous, it's almost time for the Akatsuki to come around, right?" Naruto gave the girl a nod. "Just about. Jiraiya-sensei said that'd be making their move in 3 years, and if he's right, we have a little over 4 months left to prepare for them," said Naruto as he grabbed Yujito a little closer unconsciously. "It's even worse because since you have the two tails within you, they'll come after you during the first part of their hunt. They'll try to gather the bijou from 1 to 9, in that order if everything is correct with Sensei's intel. Meaning you'll be one of their first targets. But don't worry, I won't let them get you. Don't worry about me. I'm sure that anything they could throw at me wouldn't be enough to take me down. Especially if I go full transformation, and I'm sure I'll have backup anyway." Yujito internally smiled at Naruto's tightened grip. He was worried about her, but she was worried about him too. "You need to worry about yourself. Jiraiya-sama also said that the leader of that group is supposed to come after you. Anybody that can lead a person like Itachi Uchiha and several other S-rank shinobi has to be powerful. If what I fear is true, then we will need to worry," said Kurama as Naruto listened intently. "If they're gathering all 9 bijous, then it can only mean that either they'll use us as a weapon or they'll combine us into something more powerful." "Something more powerful? I thought you were the most powerful. What creature could be more powerful than you?" questioned Naruto, paying no heed to anything but Kurama. "The Jubi that Sasuke talked about, yes, the progenitor of this world, and the original tailed beast. You still haven't told me about this Jubi ever since I learned about its existence." "What about it makes it so tough to handle?" started Naruto, only to be cut from his conversation by Yujito poking him in the cheek. "Oi? Yugi-chan? What was that for?" Yujito displayed a cute frown. "You were spaced out and ignoring me. I thought you were going to protect me from the Akatsuki? You can't do that if you're spacing out and talking to your bijou. You're not even focused on me." "I am focused on you," said Naruto as Yujito began to position herself on top of his lap facing him. "You sure you're focused on me?" said Yujito in a playful manner. Naruto smiled a little as he leaned his head forward so that his and Yujito's lips were a breath away. "I'm sure," said Naruto as he leaned his head further, right into Yujito's lips. Naruto and Yujito were grinning slightly as they continued to kiss one another with roaming hands. Yujito started to take off Naruto's shirt as they eventually ended the kiss to get it all the way off. Yujito tossed Naruto's shirt, leaving only his necklace there as she ran a hand down his chiseled upper body. "We've been alone for 2 whole days. started Yujito, kissing Naruto some more before breaking away. Yet, we still haven't done anything. What did you have in mind? Questioned Naruto, as he felt Yujito's hand reach the top of his boxers. Yujito's eyes were locked firmly on Naruto's boxers as she put a hand inside the waistband. Yujito licked her lips in anticipation as she then looked back up at Naruto. Well, started Yujito as she began to pull up on Naruto's boxers. Before Yujito could make a move to pull them down, Naruto grabbed her hand and stopped her. What? Do you not want? With a loud crash, 9 figures came flying in through the house's window with weapons drawn at the 2 Jinchuriki. 9 masked individuals as one of them pulled down his veil to address the 2. Sorry to interrupt what you were doing, but, said the man as he moved his oversized sword closer. We'll be taking all of your valuables. So please don't make this harder than it has to be. You have got to be kidding me, said Yujito with a frown as the man laughed. Oh, don't worry, pretty lady. We're going to kill your lover there quick and without pain. But you, my dear, will be taken back with us to become our personal plaything. I'm not worried about that. Actually, I'm not worried at all. It's just you guys are serious mood killers, said Yujito as she moved off of Naruto. One of the men approached Naruto immediately, and with a swing of his cleaver, Naruto's head came clean off. But instead of blood, only straw came out. Is that a dummy? Said the leader as he realized that it was a replacement. They're shinobis. Naruto appeared behind one of the men in a shunshin as he pressed firmly into one of the man's vital organs with a tri-pronged kunai. Yujito moved swiftly to stab the one next to Naruto's with one of her extended fingernails into his heart. Naruto kicked the man off his kunai before he slammed a hand into the floorboard. A huge seal appeared underneath the house, making the ground rumble slightly as Naruto placed an arm around Yujito before performing a shunshin to exit the house with her in tow. Get out! Shouted the leader as he and 2 others managed to leap out of the house in time. The other 4 weren't as lucky as the house was swallowed whole by the appearance of a giant Venus flytrap. What the hell is that thing? Asked the leader as he looked at the huge plant in front of him that appeared to be looking at him despite not having eyes. The leader then looked to the right to see Naruto and Yujito across the clearing. Man, I was just about to lose my virginity, and you all just had to show up, said Naruto as he held the snake's seal. Trees sprouted from the ground around the 3 men that were left as they were held snug in the branch's grip. Who are you? The leader gulped nervously. I'm just a thief. I don't even know how to use a sword, but I never meant any real harm, said the leader, still struggling to get out of the chakra-suppressing trees. Before Naruto could respond, however, Yujito did for him by blasting a giant wall of blue flames at the helpless men, burning them alive. Bandits. Stealing from people and threatening to take a woman and use her against her will, said Yujito as she turned toward Naruto. That's who they are. Naruto nodded his head, not caring that Yujito just killed the treacherous men. He was sad that people died but didn't feel sorry for them because of what they may have done or planned to do. By the way, said Yujito pointing toward Naruto's plant summon. Your plant just ate all of our belongings and the house we were in. Naruto's plant creature spat out several scrolls and Naruto's toad wallet as it disappeared in a poof of smoke. Naruto looked sheepish as the stuff spat out by his summoning was covered in a thick slime. So does that mean we can't continue what we were about to do? Started Naruto, only to see Yujito's look. Yeah, bad timing. Don't worry, I'll replace all of that, somehow. At least it saved the treaty scrolls. Sunagakure one day later. Dude, that's the orange fox and Kumo's Hellcat, said a Suna Chunin, who was situated inside of a dune that acted as a gate for people entering Suna. And you said this job sucked? The other Suna Chunin in the dune beside him could only nod dumbly as he watched the retreating figures of the 2 Jinchuriki. Naruto was dressed in the standard Konoha uniform, except with a short-sleeved shirt on instead of a long one. He still wore black instead of blue as his pants ran into his black and white shinobi sandals. Yujito was wearing her normal attire but added the one-strap, white flak jacket of her village. They were both wearing black forehead protectors that displayed their respective villages as they walked through the streets of Suna. Naruto-kun, said Yujito, noticing the villagers' stares at the 2 of them and the stares of others as well. We're being watched. Of course we are, Yugi-chan. Well, not me in particular because I've been here several times before, but definitely you, said Naruto as he saw what was Suna's equivalent to the Hokage Tower. Though I do wonder who they picked as a Kage? Not to mention the fact that I can finally help Gaara out. Gaara? Questioned Yujito as the 2 continued walking despite the constant stares from the villagers. You don't know who Gaara is? Suna no Gaara, Gaara of the Sand? You've really never heard of him? Asked Naruto as Yujito shook her head no. Well, I guess you probably wouldn't since Suna isn't that much of a world power or even relatively close to Kumo. But Gaara's the Jinchuriki of the Ichibi, Shikaku. Wow. Another Jinchuriki. And finally the one weaker than me. Every other Jinchuriki I've met has a bijou with more tails than me. Finally, the Jinchuriki whose ass I can kick when it comes to raw power. No, my dear Yugi-chan. I wouldn't say that. Well, I guess you can relatively when just speaking of tails. But Gaara's extremely strong, and then you have to remember that we're in a desert. Surrounded by miles of sand which Gaara can control at a whim, informed Naruto, getting Yujito's eyebrows to raise. Trying to beat Gaara and Suna is like trying to light a match underwater. It's futile, really. Even I would get my ass handed to me out here if he went all out. You'd get your ass handed to you out here by me as well. Came the voice of Kankuro, standing outside of the spherical structure that held the Kazekage's office. Kankuro smirked as he put a fist out for Naruto to bump, which Naruto easily did. And I assume you're Ni Yujito, liaison for Kumogakure. I am Kankuro, welcome to Sunagakure. Yujito shook hands with Kankuro, returning his greeting. Naruto then noticed something that was off. Hey Kankuro. Where's Temari-chan and Gaara? Asked Naruto as Kankuro escorted the two into the building. Kankuro chuckled at that question. Temari is out on a mission at the moment, and I'm guessing you haven't heard about Gaara? Said Kankuro as Naruto shook his head wondering what he could mean. Did something happen to Gaara? Well, hello, Naruto and Yujito-san. I am the Godain Kazekage, Gaara, said Gaara as Naruto's jaw dropped to see Gaara in the ceremonial green robes of Suna's Kage. Welcome to Suna. Yujito greeted Gaara with a bow at the young Kage as Naruto continued to gawk at the Ichibi Jinchuriki. You're kidding, right? Asked Naruto as Kankuro laughed and slapped a hand on his back. When did this happen? I was here less than a year ago, and you all still didn't have a Kage yet, and now they selected you. Yes, I was given the honor of Kage shortly after you left the last time. The people have accepted me and I am proud to serve as their Kage, said Gaara, turning around looking out of his office at his village. I'd gladly give my life to protect them. Naruto couldn't help but smile at his once enemy turned friend. After the failed invasion of Konoha, Suna surrendered immediately and afterward began the process of an alliance with Konoha. Naruto became the messenger between the two villages along with Temari as they continued discussing their alliance. And in that time, Naruto became good friends with Kankuro and Temari, but even better friends with his fellow Jinchuriki, Gaara. Naruto helped Gaara live for a better purpose other than proving his existence through killing. He helped him find something worth living for. The alliance talks between Konoha and Suna continued ever since the invasion because due to Suna not having a Kage, an alliance necessarily couldn't be finalized. But now with Gaara as the new Kazekage, a true alliance could actually be feasible. And with Kumo there due to their alliance with Konoha, 3 of the 5 great villages would be at peace with each other. Naruto smiled more at the thought that he was seeing Hashirama's dream coming true, one village at a time. Gaara then turned back around as he looked toward the 2 other Jinchuriki in the room. I'm sure you 2 are tired from your trip here. We have set up accommodations for your stay here for the night, and any night after that until we decide on the alliance between our villages. All expenses are paid as you will be on my tab, so enjoy yourselves here, said Gaara, getting smiles from his fellow Jinchuriki. But of course I'll need the scrolls sent by your respective Kages first. Naruto and Yujito nodded their heads as Naruto took off the huge scroll on his back. After opening the scroll, Naruto held the tiger seal, making the scroll poof and revealed 2 other scrolls, a red one from Konoha and a yellow one from Kumo. Gaara nodded his head as Naruto handed him both scrolls. Thank you and enjoy your time in Suna. I'll get you a response after convening with my council, said Gaara as Kankuro offered to take them to their hotel. Also, are you able to do what you promised me now, Naruto? Naruto turned his head around and only smiled. I can do it tonight if you're willing. Tonight it is. Until then, said Gaara as he opened the 2 scrolls given to him and began to read their contents. Naruto and Yujito made their way out of the building following Kankuro all the way. Later that night, Yujito walked into the hotel room provided by Gaara as Naruto walked in with a shopping bag behind her. That Naruto was followed by 16 other Narutos as they were all carrying shopping bags filled with things for Yujito. After placing their bag down, that Naruto would then poof away to allow the next Naruto to do the same. Well, I think that replaces all of my belongings. Plus I got something extra, said Yujito as she looked at the original Naruto walking in. Naruto was holding up his now empty-toed wallet, Gamachan, as he cried anime tears. Gaara said he'd pay for everything yet you made me pay, said Naruto sobbing all the while. I lost the whole S-ranked mission pay. It wasn't Gaara's fault that my belongings were swallowed by a plant, said Yujito as Naruto continued to sob. After a few minutes, Naruto straightened up as he and Yujito felt a presence rapidly approaching. Sand swirled into their room as Gaara appeared in Asuna Shunshin. Naruto nodded at Gaara as he then followed Gaara out of the window back to the Kazekage building. After walking through the doors, Gaara took Naruto into the bunker located at the base of the building. The room was empty except for a metal bed with restraints on it. You ready? Asked Naruto as Gaara took the gourd off his back and the upper part of his clothing, leaving him bare-chested. Gaara then lay down on the table as he blew out a breath. If you are, said Gaara as Naruto tied down his arms and legs with the restraints on the bed. Naruto created a wood clone as he smiled. Of course I am. If I succeed, then you'll be able to sleep at night without the threat of losing your mind. If not, I'll just unleash a Bija hellbent on destroying everything everywhere, and since we're in this little room, you and I will be squished and killed without even being able to stop him. No pressure, said Naruto with a grin. Naruto then looked to his clone. Let's get to it. Naruto's clone jumped back several feet as it sat cross-legged on the ground facing Gaara and the original Naruto. Wooden pillars grew around the clone as it placed a palm out toward Gaara. The kanji for sit appeared in the clone's palm as the pillars reached maximum height. A firm nod from his replica later, and Naruto ran through 7 hand seals before placing a hand over the seal that housed Shikaku inside of Gaara. Fuinjutsu, Kai, sealing technique, release, said Naruto as a burst of energy rolled through the room as Gaara's seal glowed and began to slowly recede on itself. Sand began to swirl around violently after Naruto released the seal as Shikaku began to attempt to free himself. The wood clone's hand began to shake as it tried to keep the presence of Shikaku suppressed while his original kept his palm on Gaara's seal until it receded fully. Eventually, Gaara's seal got to the bare minimum without releasing the full might of Shikaku before Naruto put his other hand in a half-ram seal. Shishio Fuin, 4-symbol seal. A circle of kanji appeared where Gaara's seal once was. The circle of kanji had 4 points sticking out of it at 4 different corners, as the Uzumaki swirl appeared in the middle of the kanji. The seal glowed for several seconds until the sand that had been whipping around without control dropped to the ground harmlessly. The seal turned black as Naruto smiled while a bead of sweat dripped from his forehead. The entire process had taken a little over 3 minutes as Naruto put his hands up in victory. Naruto promised Gaara on a visit to Suna, after seeing Gaara attempting to change for the better, that he'd look into making Gaara's seal better. Naruto noticed that Gaara's seal was only good enough to hold Shikaku in but not protect Gaara from his influence. And after 2 years of seal work with clones and studying Gaara's seal, Naruto finally could create a better seal for his friend. Naruto and his clone then shared an air high five as the original Naruto fell back onto the sand that now occupied the floor. His clone made the wood it created go back into the ground as it dissolved into wood itself. Naruto fell into a state of unconsciousness, as doing Gaara's seal took a lot out of him. Gaara woke up an hour later as he looked around to see Naruto out cold laying down in his sand. I can't feel Shikaku like before. He did it, said Gaara as he realized he was still restrained to the table. Sand rose out of his gourd as it broke his restraints to allow its wielder freedom. Seems my control over sand is still as good. Gaara sat up as he placed back on his clothes and gourd before picking Naruto up with the sand he was lying on, and carrying him back to his hotel room. Gaara entered their room as he placed Naruto on his bed before leaving. Several minutes later, Yujito stepped out of the bathroom to see Naruto passed out on the bed. Naruto-kun? Said Yujito as Naruto didn't move in the slightest. Yujito sighed as she wouldn't be able to have her way with Naruto this night either. What does a girl have to do around here to get some? 2 days later, Futon, Kamaitachi no Jutsu, Wind Style, Wine Scythe Technique, came the voice of Temari as she let loose a mighty torrent of wind across the training ground she was in. The wind carried dust and other particles as it ripped its way toward her opponents. Mokuton, Mokujihiki, Wood Style, Wood Domed Wall, thought Naruto, holding the snake seal as a circular wall of wooden pillars protected him and his partner from the violent winds. Once the wind began to die down, Naruto let his wall recede as his partner ran through several hand seals. Katon, Dienden, Fire Style, Great Flame Bullet, said Yujito, holding the tiger seal as she sent out a huge wall of flames at Temari. Due to the dying wind still in the area, the flames grew to great heights as they raced toward Temari. Before the fire could reach Temari, a massive sand wall appeared in front of her to block the great flames. The sand wall fell to show Gaara standing near Temari with his hand up. Naruto placed his hands in the ram's seal before grabbing Yujito and jumping to avoid 2 giant puppets coming out of the ground that attempted to trap the two. TCH. Good of you to dodge my kurohiji, Kiki Senpatsu, black secret technique, machine triple shot, said Kankuro as he then smirked. But now you're prime targets for our next attack. Kurohiji, Kiki Sankaku, black secret technique, machinery triangles, said Kankuro as his two puppets opened up to fire off kunai attached with bombs. Futon, Dai Kamaitashi no Jutsu, wind style, great wind scythe technique, said Temari as she sent out a gust of wind that was greater than the first. Rendan Suna Shigure, successive shots, sand drizzle, said Gaara as he sent out a plentiful of sand bullets. The sand siblings' attacks were directed at the airborne Yujito and Naruto as they honed in fast. Halfway to Naruto and Yujito, a massive wooden dragon burst from the ground as Naruto and Yujito landed on top of its still rising head. The dragon took the combined assault from the sand siblings without wavering in the slightest as it then turned its head down to look at the three Sunanines. The dragon let out a mighty roar before rushing out at the sand siblings. The dragon moved surprisingly fast despite its immense size and prepared to crash into the three before Gaara raised both hands, creating giant sand hands that stopped Naruto's dragon in its tracks while also capturing Naruto and Yujito in the process. Sabaku, Hando, desert hand, said Gaara as Naruto smiled. Okay, you win, said Naruto as Gaara allowed a rare smile. Gaara let Yujito and Naruto go as the two jumped to the ground next to the three of them. Gaara then had his sand bring out two scrolls, both green signifying they were from the Kazekage personally. Here are the scrolls for you both to return to your kages, said Gaara as Naruto and Yujito humbly accepted them. Thank you for coming to Suna and I hope that everything works out so that we can have peace between our villages. Gaara shook hands with Yujito and Naruto as they then said their goodbyes to Temari and Kankuro. See you guys around, said Naruto before he and Yujito threw on cloaks and left back on the trail to Konoha. As Naruto and Yujito disappeared over the horizon, Kankuro and Temari fell to their knees. What's wrong with you two? Asked Gaara as he turned his head slightly toward his downed brother and sister. Naruto. Hits. Hard, said Kankuro as Temari said the same about Yujito. If it hadn't been for Gaara, they would have surely been decimated by the assault of those two. It also helped that they were given the home field advantage being in their village. Later that night, I could have totally kicked his ass if I went all out, came the loud voice of Naruto so Yujito could hear him since she was taking a shower. But by doing something like that it causes an unnecessary ideal for power. If a village's kage can be defeated by another ninja, especially a foreigner, then it definitely paints a bad picture. Yujito turned off the water as she walked out of the bathroom clad in only a towel to see Naruto laying motionless on the bed, just like she had left him earlier. How does a Jinchuriki get chakra exhaustion again? 30 minutes earlier, Mokutan, Choshichuka no Jutsu, wood style, super 4-pillar house technique, said Naruto as he and Yujito stood outside in a clearing. Naruto slammed his hands on the ground as the ground erupted in a burst of wood pillars. Naruto's wood pillars converged and merged eventually into an enormous castle-like structure, complete with a tall wooden fence around it. Outside of the fence, several of Naruto's plant summonings appeared as they became bodyguards for the newly created fortress. Now, we won't have to worry about bandits disturbing our peace anymore, said Naruto before he face-planted into the ground. I think I may have put too much chakra into this. Present, when he creates a castle and pumps a tremendous amount of chakra into his summons so that they don't dispel right away and can last throughout the night. Not to mention that in the same day, having clones training before they left Sunagakure, and that he and his sexy girlfriend just faced a kage and two jonin for over an hour in a spar. In hindsight I should have thought that through more, said Naruto before wiggling his toes slightly. I can wiggle my toes now, so in about another half hour I should be able to move. Thanks for helping me get a shower and to bed, because the way I am now, I wouldn't have been able to do it myself. Naruto was wearing only boxers as Yujito helped him take care of himself before bed because it was taking him forever to do so himself. She then helped him onto the bed so he could lay down and recover from his state of immobility. Yujito nodded her head as she then picked up the shirt she put out to wear for the night. Right before putting it on, Yujito then realized something and a smile grew on her face. Yujito threw the shirt down as she turned back to the whiskered blonde laying on the bed before her. Naruto noticed Yujito's grin and was wondering what was going on. Yugi-chan? Said Naruto as he noticed Yujito walking toward the bed before crawling over to him and sitting on her knees. So you basically can't do anything right now? Helpless? Said Yujito as Naruto nodded his head slowly with a confused look on his face. Pretty much. Though being a Jinchuriki, I'll recover here shortly. I just told you that though, Yugi-chan. Were you not listening? Started Naruto, only to stop when he felt Yujito's hand rub against the part of his anatomy hidden underneath his boxers. So I could pretty much do anything to you right now, and you wouldn't be able to stop it, said Yujito as her smile grew when she felt Naruto responding. Because you've kept me waiting for far too long. And I intend to make you pay for that. Lemon. One day later, outskirts of Sunagakure, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki has left the village. You can go ahead and pursue your target of the Ichibi. Came the voice of Zetsu, the Akatsuki's spy, as he was talking to two other members of the Akatsuki. Zetsu then dug back into the ground to leave the others to their assignments. The taller figure of the two pulled out what appeared to be a clay bird as he tossed it out in front of them. A poof of smoke later, and a giant clay bird stood ready for use. Don't worry, Sasori-senpai. I'll handle this one, said the taller figure as he leaped on the bird. Having to wait for the Kyuubi Jinchuriki to leave seemed pointless, as I'm sure we could have taken him, especially with my art. You heard, Leader Sama. We are not to face the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, he is the leader's target, said the smaller figure as he added. Don't keep me waiting. The taller figure took off on his bird over Sunagakure, as the smaller figure realized it was finally time. So it begins. Chapter 21, Akatsuki. Two figures trekked across the vast desert known as the Land of Wind as they approached the border. The two figures were donning cloaks with the trademark red clouds of the Akatsuki. These two were Deidara and Sasori. Above the two figures was an owl carrying a male with red hair. The male captured inside the owl was Suna's Kazekage, Gaara. That boy would have killed you if not for my intervention, said Sasori as he and Deidara continued to walk. Flashback. Earlier that day, Deidara crashed into the ground roughly with several burn marks and a few broken bones, as Gaara came to land several feet away in the clearing with him. Sand began to swirl around Deidara as Gaara looked upon him with a stoic expression. This is the end for you, said Gaara as the sand continued swirling around Deidara. Gaara was the first to notice Deidara flying over his village on his clay bird. Gaara spotted it easily since that type of bird Deidara created did not inhabit Suna. After a long aerial fight against the dangerous bomber, Gaara managed to finally capture him with his sand. Before Gaara could crush him though, Deidara detonated a bomb to escape the prison and was sent careening out of the village walls. Gaara followed him to finish him off. Not good, said Deidara as the sand was beginning to cover his upper body. Deidara was running low on chakra. It didn't help. Gaara left him no ability to fend off the sand by covering the parts of his body he need to attempt an escape. Before the sand could reach his entire upper body, it was sent away by a shroud of iron sand. I told you not to make me wait. Came the voice of Sasori standing next to what appeared to be a puppet version of Sunagakure's Sandame Kazekage, Third Wind Shadow. Then you almost die. Forget going solo, we'll take him together. Deidara dug his hands into his pouch as the puppet of the Sandame floated beside Sasori ominously. Despite Gaara's calm outward expression, on the inside, he knew that this was an unfavorable matchup. His hands were already full against Deidara, and now added to the mix was a puppet master utilizing a puppet of Suna's strongest Kage that wielded the strongest Kekai Genkai of Suna. It just didn't bode well for the young Jinchuriki. Despite the circumstances, Gaara still prepared to face off against the two S-rank shinobis. Flashback end. Deidara merely chuckled as they continued to walk across the desert with the Kazekage in tow above them. Well, he is the Kage of his village. Even though Suna is considered the weakest, a Kage is a Kage. Don't forget that he houses the Ichibi while fighting in the sand. I think me and my art did pretty well despite the circumstances, continued Deidara with a grin. How long until we get to the ceiling area? We're finally out of the sand. It shouldn't be too long. By sunrise, we should be there. Remember though, it'll take us at least 3 days to finish the ceiling. Let's hurry. I don't like making people wait. In Konoha, the next morning, Tsunade sat at her desk with Sakura behind her, as they looked over the paperwork. Just as Tsunade prepared to sign the final document, Shizen burst through the doors with a note in her hand. "Tsunade-sama!" shouted Shizen frantically as she handed Tsunade the note. Suna was invaded by the Akatsuki and Gaara was captured. Gaara was defeated first and was seen being abducted by Sasori of the Red Sands and Deidara from Iwagakure, based off Kankuro's viewpoint. He went after the two but was defeated by Sasori and left poisoned, said Tsunade with wide eyes. Tsunade looked up with a thought. They must have struck after Naruto left, as there is no way he'd let something like that happen while he was still there. We have to get a hold of him somehow. What about the toad that you used to talk to Jiraiya-sama? Asked Sakura as Tsunade nodded her head. Tsunade opened the drawer to her desk to pull out a scroll. After pulling out the scroll and opening it, she pulled out a vial of blood and dropped a few splotches across the seal on the scroll. Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning technique. A poof of smoke later, and a small red toad appeared on her desk. After writing a small note, Tsunade gave the note to the toad. Give this to Naruto as quick as possible. Please hurry. The toad nodded his head before dispelling himself in a puff of smoke. Tsunade then bit her nail as she remembered a part of the letter sent by Sunagakure. Sasori of the Red Sands. He's a poison specialist, and if that's so, Suna may need a medic. A good medic to tend to Kankuro. So, Sakura, I'll have to send you to aid them, but I can't just send you alone. Continued Tsunade as she then looked to her window. Perfect timing, of course. Nothing less. Though Naruto may already be here. That toad may not have been necessary, as we can just catch him on his way back, said the ninja on the windowsill without even looking up from his little orange book. I heard everything, so, Sakura, I'll meet you at the gate in 10 minutes. Don't be late. With that, the silver-haired ninja disappeared in a poof of smoke. Sakura and Tsunade's sweat dropped. Coming from you, Kakashi-sensei, said Sakura as Tsunade shook her head. Sakura then disappeared in a swirl of cherry blossoms as she vanished to get her stuff ready for the mission at hand. 3 days later, Naruto and Yujito were speeding through the forest trying to get to where Sunagakure stated the Akatsuki members departed. They were nearly back to Konoha when a small toad appeared before Naruto, giving him the sad news of Gaara getting captured. Naruto immediately made a reverse track back to Sunagakure, which took him and Yujito 3 days to get back to. They were joined by Kakashi and Sakura but left ahead of those two since Sakura stayed to take care of Kankuro. They were nearing the place where Naruto could sense a huge chakra, which was probably where the Akatsuki members were when he felt 2 smaller chakra signatures approaching. Yugi-chan, said Naruto clad in his Anbu uniform without his mask on. They sent someone to stop us from saving Gaara. Actually 2, and if it's who I think it is, then we'll have some trouble. Be ready. Yujito was clad in an all-black outfit, complete with a face mask identical to Kakashi's own. Yujito pulled her mask down with her hand as she nodded her head. I'm ready. We can't let those in the Akatsuki take one of us Jinchuriki without a fight. Be careful, said Yujito, sneaking a kiss with Naruto before pulling her face mask back up. Naruto then took off faster with Yujito right behind him. About a minute later, they arrived in a clearing surrounded by trees to see 2 figures, both clad in Akatsuki cloaks. One had a pair of Sharingan eyes while the other had blue skin and an enormous, bandaged sword on his back. Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame. We meet again, said Naruto as he and Yujito stood across Itachi and Kisame. But something feels off, thought Naruto about the 2 Akatsuki members opposing him. It's been some time, Naruto-kun. Came the seemingly emotionless voice and disposition of Itachi. And it's a pleasure to meet you finally, Yujito-san. Yujito nodded back. Of course it is. Except for the fact that you're killing someone at the moment, or that you're an organization hellbent on capturing the tailed beasts, one of which I happen to house, said Yujito back to Itachi as Kisame laughed slightly. Well, enough of this talking. You're trying to get to your friend and we're here to stop you. Let's get to it, said Kisame as he lunged at the 2 Jinchuriki with a swing of his sword. Naruto pulled out a tri-pronged kunai as he blocked the large sword. While Naruto and Kisame were locked in a battle of kunai versus sword, Yujito attempted to strike Kisame down from his blind side, only to be hindered by the sudden appearance of Itachi. Itachi and Yujito then engaged in a taijutsu battle as Itachi drifted Yujito away from Kisame and Naruto, leaving the 2 alone in the clearing. Seems that brat I met some 3 years ago in Tanzakugai has grown up, said Kisame with a laugh and intrigued smirk. You're a lot stronger. Strong enough to match me. I'm impressed. Heh, maybe? But then again, you're a lot weaker than I remember, said Naruto, holding a critical eye as he held Kisame's blade away from him with his kunai. I'd say less than half of what you were 3 years ago. So, either you've gotten weaker or it's some kind of jutsu. Nonetheless, Naruto backpedaled slightly as he and Kisame clapped their hands together preparing a jutsu. Suiton, Baku Sui Shoha, water style. Exploding water colliding wave, said Kisame as he spat out a massive amount of water, which immediately covered the area in powerful waves. The waves then rushed out toward Naruto, who performed his own jutsu to counter. Doton, Doryu Hiki, Earth style rampart. Thought Naruto before a giant rampart of earth began to rise beneath his feet, lifting him out of the wave's destructive force. Kisame and his waves crashed into the wall, stopping on impact as Kisame looked up to see Naruto holding the ram's seal. Kisame was about to retreat in case of a jutsu, only to see 3 more walls of earth rise around him, boxing him in completely. 2 wood clones morphed out of the original Naruto's body as he prepared his technique. Futon, Gamma Udon, Wind Release, Toad Oil Bullet. Thought Naruto as he spewed out a torrent of wind-enhanced oil thanks to a clone pressing a palm to his back. The high-speed oil hit Kisame directly with tremendous force as Naruto's other clone flung an explosive note into the mix. Boom! An enormous explosion erupted from the ground as the corridor of earth exploded outward from the force of the oil mixing with the explosive note. Naruto and his clones landed on the ground as they checked for signs of Kisame in the rubble. "Did we get him?" asked one of the clones, not seeing a sign of Kisame left. "Looks like it," replied Naruto's other clone. Not a second after saying that, Naruto looked to his right as he saw what appeared to be a giant, bandaged fin approaching him and his clones. "Not yet," said Naruto as out of the ground, Kisame appeared holding his sword, unscathed from Naruto's recent attack. "Mizu Bunshin, water clone," Kisame laughed again. "That was a nice combination." "Too bad it'll take more than that to defeat me," said Kisame, placing his sword over his shoulder. "I have no time to waste. I have to finish this now," thought Naruto before he reached into his pouch and pulled out his Gamma mask. Naruto's clones dispelled as he placed on the mask and clapped his hands together. "So you're using that, are you?" came the voice of Kurama in Naruto's head. Naruto internally nodded as red markings began to appear on his face, not that Kisame could see due to his mask. "And I'm guessing you put the mask on to keep him from seeing it, and possibly reporting back to his leader." "TCH. Pretty smart, Nigen. Though I'm sure that sword of his will sense the power-up." "Damn right it's smart. Plus, I've always wanted to test this jutsu on a real opponent, and I can only use it without drawback in Sage Mode," replied Naruto, holding out a hand as he created a Rasengan in a flash. The ground around Naruto began to crumble as Naruto added earth manipulation to his jutsu. "As far as the chakra increase, he'll probably think it's your chakra I'm using." Naruto's Rasengan began to give off a loud, power drill-like buzz as a swirl of brown began to morph around it. Naruto clutched his forearm with his other hand as the Rasengan turned a light brown color with a spiraling spear appearing around it, pointed directly at Kisame. The spear coated Naruto's arm up to his elbow as the tip of the spear was past his hand, which held the Rasengan. Samahata began to flail wildly as Kisame received the message loud and clear, even without Samahata's warning. "I know. You could probably feel that massive spike in chakra from miles away. And I'm not stupid to not know that that jutsu is powerful," said Kisame before clapping his hands together. "But then again, that thing is made of chakra and I have the perfect jutsu to use against it." Suetun. Kisame was cut off by the immediate appearance of Naruto via Shunshin. Like teleportation. "What speed?" Senpo, Doton, Rasunyari, Sage Art, Earth Style, Spiraling Spear. Thought Naruto, drilling the jutsu into Kisame's gut. As the spear hit Kisame, a massive shockwave occurred, tearing up the landscape around the two. Samahata attempted to absorb the jutsu but was blown away by the explosion of raw power from Naruto's jutsu. As Naruto's jutsu drilled into Kisame, the surrounding land also began to merge into the Rasunyari before exploding outward and sending Kisame flying, creating a deep, comb-like trench with his body at the head of it. Naruto let his arm go as he shook out the effects of using that jutsu. "Hell yeah! That's even better than when I did it in Myobokuzen," said Naruto with a small smirk. "I can't wait to tell Jiraiya-sensei about this one." Naruto then performed a series of shunshin to follow Kisame since he sent him flying to where Itachi and Yujito disappeared, earlier in the fight. Earlier with Yujito. "Well, enough of this talking. You're going to get your friend and we're here to stop you." "Let's get to it," said Kisame as he lunged at the two Jinchuriki with a swing of his sword. Naruto pulled out a tri-pronged kunai as he blocked the large sword. While Naruto and Kisame were locked in a battle of kunai versus sword, Yujito attempted to strike Kisame down from his blind side, only to be hindered by the sudden appearance of Itachi. Yujito didn't stop, however, and began to throw a flurry of strikes at the stoic Uchiha. Itachi just continued to backpedal and dodge as he led Yujito out of the clearing, away from Kisame and Naruto. Having enough of trying to hit the Uchiha, Yujito flew through several hand seals at a rapid pace. "Nezumi Kedama, mouse hairball," said Yujito as she fired off a massive blue fireball at Itachi. "Dodge this," thought Yujito as the jutsu broke apart into dozens of smaller fireballs that honed in on the motionless Uchiha. Yujito was in for a surprise when the jutsu hit Itachi full force and sent him back in a blazing, blue fire into a tree. However, upon hitting the tree, Itachi dissolved into crows that began to take flight at Yujito. "Wake up, kitten. It's a genjutsu," came the voice of the Nibi inside Yujito's head, forcing her Jinchuriki partner out of a genjutsu placed on her. Upon being released, the crows that were coming toward her turned into fast-paced shuriken. "Thanks, Nibi," replied Yujito to her partner as she extended her fingernails. With grace and agility, Yujito dodged the numerous shuriken, and whichever ones she couldn't, she'd cut through with her sharp fingernails. Yujito sliced through the last shuriken as she then lunged to her right, flying into a nearby bush. Itachi came jumping out of the bush as Yujito mauled straight through it in hopes of getting him. Itachi landed on a nearby tree branch as he looked on at the female Jinchuriki. Yujito smirked as she looked up at Itachi. "Is a member of the mighty Uchiha clan running? I thought that in a one-on-one fight you should always run from a member of your clan? I guess it's kind of true since one of us is running." Itachi's expression never changed. "It's not a matter of me running away. My job was to just impede you and Naruto-kun. I'm not here to win by any means," said Itachi as he then put a hand to his mouth. "Katan, Gokaki no Jutsu, fire style, grand fireball technique," thought Itachi, firing an enormous fireball at Yujito. "I didn't even see him weave the signs," thought Yujito, placing her hands in the tiger seal to respond. "Katan, Enden, fire style, flame bullet," said Yujito, blowing out an equally as big fireball of blue fire. The two jutsus crashed into each other as they fought for dominance. Yujito noticeably began to dominate the Uchiha as her fire was pushing back into Itachi. Then Yujito saw something that shocked her. Another Itachi appeared, jumping from behind the first with the jutsu already prepared. His seal speed is unbelievable. To be able to create a fireball and shadow clone, how good is this guy? Katan, Hozenka no Jutsu, fire style, Phoenix Sage fire technique, thought the airborne Itachi as he sent out a dozen miniature fireballs at the still fire-breathing Yujito. Halfway to Yujito, her entire body became cloaked in a Jinchuriki cloak. Instead of the normal red, version 2 Jinchuriki cloak, Yujito was instead bathed in a majestic blue chakra cloak. Thanks to the white necklace given to her by Naruto, it helped Yujito tame the potent chakra of the Nibi and turn it into a true Jinchuriki cloak like Naruto's. An arm of chakra appeared from the chakra cloak and swatted away the fireballs with ease as Yujito immediately overpowered the first Itachi in the fireball battle and sent him blazing into a poof of smoke. "He's good." That first Itachi was the actual clone. He was hiding out this whole time, thought Yujito, still in her blue chakra cloak as her chakra arm receded into her cloak. "You're right, kitten. With those eyes of his, he could counter your speed, and not to mention the fact of how fast he is already. It's going to be tough, but in your Jinchuriki cloak, it should be easy to get him now." "Maybe Yuku," replied the Nibi before she felt a massive spike of chakra. "Kitten, do you feel that?" "Who couldn't feel that?" replied Yujito as the chakra was incredible. "Is that Naruto-kun? I've never felt something so powerful. It's even stronger than Reikage-sama." "Is that the Kyubi?" "No, kitten. There's not an ounce of Kurama's power in there. That's all him," replied Nibi as Yujito stood in awe of the power spike. "It reminds me of the Shodai Hokage. It seems Naruto-kun is finished playing around. He's certainly grown stronger," thought Itachi with a small, unseen smile as he could see a massive wave of earth heading toward him and Yujito. Yujito jumped out of the way while Itachi stayed situated on the tree he was in. Since he was out of the way, the wave of earth went flying past them and out of sight, but you could make out Kisame inside of it. "That's an impressive jutsu. And it looks like he's arrived here now." Naruto appeared, materializing next to Yujito in a shunshin, still with his mask on. Naruto and Yujito's hair was swaying due to the wind flowing through the area by Naruto's jutsu as they looked up at Itachi, moving the hair out of his eyes. Naruto noticed something weird about Itachi though. Taking off his mask, Naruto looked toward the Konoha Nukenin. "That's a serious wind blowing through here right now, so how is your cloak not moving?" asked Naruto, watching Itachi. Yujito then took notice of that fact as well. "You know what, you're right. We were fighting and he was moving around a lot, yet his cloak never moved. It's crazy now that you made me notice it," said Yujito before Naruto dispelled in a poof of smoke. Another Naruto appeared behind Itachi, stabbing a tri-pronged kunai into his back. "Heh, I knew it wouldn't be that easy," said Naruto as Itachi detonated on him. The Itachi Naruto stabbed turned out to be yet another clone using the Bunshin Daibakuha, clone Great Explosion, to explode in Naruto's face. Instead of blood and body parts, that Naruto turned out to be a wood clone. Yujito was in awe of the quick sequences of events and the fast-paced actions of the two shinobi. "Over there. To the left, kitten," said the Nibi in Yujito's head as she turned to see what her bijou was talking about. Upon turning, Yujito saw another Naruto with his mask on, hitting Itachi directly with a Rasengan. A huge Rasengan. Senpo, Otama Rasengan, Sage Art, Big Ball Rasengan. Thought Naruto hitting Itachi directly, the real Itachi. Naruto sent out 2 clones ahead, both of them dropping Sage mode to keep it hidden while he waited to strike Itachi. While in Sage mode, Naruto could easily sense where the real Itachi Uchiha was and quickly dispose of him. After blasting Itachi away, Naruto could have sworn he saw a smile on the emotionless Uchiha's face. Itachi was blown away from Naruto and sent skidding back through the forest as Yujito landed beside the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Naruto looked at Yujito before nodding his head. Right as Naruto nodded his head, a huge explosion of dust, rocks, trees, and debris exploded into the air. Signs of Naruto's earlier Rasengan into Kisame finally detonating in the distance. That thing just now exploded? Questioned Kurama in Naruto's head. It's on a scale near a Bijudama, tailed beast ball. I mean, you can just say it. I impressed you. Go on, I'm waiting, replied Naruto in his head before hearing a scoff from his partner. Well, that's better than nothing. Now to pinpoint Gaara again. Naruto closed his eyes behind his mask as he focused on his sensing ability. After a few seconds, Naruto found a wave of chakra being released that matched Shikaku's. Naruto opened his eyes to see Yujito still in awe over the Rasengan that just exploded not too long ago. Yugi-chan. We have to hurry. I can barely feel Gaara's chakra. Came the voice of Naruto, snapping Yujito out of her state of awe. Yujito looked toward Naruto and nodded as the two took off to where Naruto could feel Gaara's chakra. Naruto and Yujito took off in a sprint as they headed to where Naruto could sense Gaara weakening chakra. Please make it in time, thought Naruto as he continued to sprint at a rapid pace. Yujito was having a tough time keeping up with Naruto, even in her Jinchuriki cloak. Did he power up or something? How is he so fast and strong? I'll have to ask him later, thought Yujito, barely keeping up with the speed of Naruto. Eventually, though, Naruto and Yujito landed in a ravine, facing a huge boulder with a seal tag on it that blocked the area holding Gaara. That's a 5 seal barrier tag, right? Questioned Yujito as Naruto nodded his head at her, flexing her knowledge of sealing. Well, I mean, I do have a seal master for a boyfriend and all. But anyway, the only way past this is by taking off the other 4 tags and this one at the same time, correct? That's one way of doing it. Or we could, said Naruto before leaping up to the boulder. Naruto reached into one of the ninja pouches on his back and pulled out a paintbrush and some ink. Dipping the brush a few times, Naruto brushed over the seal tag in front of him, placing a seal over it. Naruto looked at it for a second and, being satisfied with his work, put his hand in a half-rammed seal. Kai release. Sealing is incredible. I see why the Uzumaki clan was brought to near extinction back during the Second Ninja War. It has so many uses, said Yujito, watching the seal turn blank. Naruto placed a palm on the rock before he funneled some chakra into the boulder. Seconds later, the once boulder broke apart into tinier rocks as they were blasted into the area containing only Deidara and Sasori, the former sitting atop a motionless Gaara. Seems like you have finally arrived, said Deidara as he stood up from sitting atop Gaara. But you're a little late, your friend here is dead. Yujito looked somber at that, as even though she hadn't known Gaara for long, he was still a person and even a Jinchuriki at that. Naruto's facial expression couldn't be seen behind the white porcelain of his Umbu mask, but if his face was viewable, Deidara and Sasori would be able to see angry, golden eyes beneath his mask. We have to get out of here. Leader-sama said that the Kyuubi Jinchuriki should not be faced. And from what Itachi and Kisame just said about their encounter with him, it'd be wise to leave this place. Thought Sasori, as Deidara felt the same way. He didn't want any kind of interaction with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, especially since he was sure that he was angry about Gaara. Deidara pulled out a clay bird as he prepared to ditch the area. Before he could make his bird grow into its full size, Naruto appeared before him in a shunshin with a tri-pronged kunai in hand. Fast as Kisame said? Thought Deidara as he and Sasori jumped away from Naruto. Naruto stood beside the body of Gaara as he looked down at the fallen Kage. Pricking his finger on his kunai, Naruto slammed a palm beside the motionless Gaara. A small yellow toad appeared as it opened up its mouth and swallowed Gaara whole before disappearing in a poof of smoke. While that was happening, Deidara and Sasori were already on Deidara's bird as they began to fly above Naruto and Yujito to escape. That plan was halted, however, at the appearance of a large, purple barrier. Shishinjin, for violet flames formation, came the voice of 4 Narutos situated in a rectangle around the 4 shinobi. The original Naruto looked up at the 2 Akatsuki members while taking off his mask. The red markings around his eyes and on his forehead were in full display as he stared down the two. "I'm going to fucking kill you," said Naruto, cracking the ground as he clapped his hands together. The ground rumbled violently as it quaked at Naruto's power. "This is not good," thought Deidara as he and Sasori looked down at the sage Jinchuriki. "Outside, hurry Sakura." "We're almost there," said Kakashi as he, Sakura, and his dog summoned pack and raced through the forest. Sakura finished healing Kankuro, and the two were now headed to back up Naruto and Yujito. "Hi sensei," said Sakura as she continued to jump behind the two in front of her. As they were jumping, they noticed a giant trench in the ground. "It seems like Naruto isn't messing around." "That's his chakra that created this," said Pakin. "And he's about 1 more mile away. I can smell 4 others in the area as well. One being his girlfriend, Gaara, and 2 others that I don't recognize. It must be the pair of Akatsuki members that you're smelling." "We should move faster," said Kakashi as the group of 3 picked up their speed. "I can't lose another person close to me. Please make it in time." "Inside the cave. We have to get out of here now." Sasori no Dana. "That kid seems hellbent on killing us." "We need to go," said Deidara in a panic as a majestic orange chakra began to cover Naruto that looked eerily like the 9-tailed fox. "No matter how you look at it, one of us will die today. There's no way we'd be able to get away from that boy, especially considering the Nibby is right there with him," said Sasori from inside his puppet. "I will be the decoy. I'll have a better chance against those 2 than you would. My abilities would be able to work better. While I distract him, you find a way to dispel this barrier. All you have to do is take out one of the users and it should dissipate. You have to get this info back to Leader-sama about the Jinchuriki's power." Deidara stared at Sasori for a second before nodding his head at the plan. He was totally right, and one of them needed to get the information on the QB back to their leader for his impending battle against him. Right after nodding his head, the ground under Naruto burst open as a massive wooden structure appeared beneath him. The 2 Akatsuki members stared in awe as a wooden version of the 9-tailed fox was created. "Senpo Mokutan Kumiho Sage Art Wood Style 9-tailed fox," thought Naruto as the orange chakra of Kurama that was surrounding him molded into the wooden fox. Once it settled in, the fox's eyes glowed a vibrant orange as it roared out at the 2 members of Akatsuki. Yujito, still cloaked in her blue chakra, jumped on top of the wooden fox next to Naruto. "Naruto-kun, don't you think this is a bit much?" questioned Yujito as Naruto never looked at her. His once golden eyes were now orange and slit, a combination of his golden, sage mode eyes and Kurama's own red, slit ones. "Yugi-chan. They killed Gaara. What did Gaara ever do to deserve this?" questioned Naruto right back. As Naruto finished talking, the wooden fox opened its mouth like a gigantic raisin gun formed in front of it. "Naruto, if you continue this, you'll just kill yourself as it will bounce off the barrier and detonate in here with you," came the calm voice of Kurama as Naruto heard his partner's words. "You'd have to release the barrier if you plan to use that jutsu." "You're right. It will detonate in here. But Yugi-chan and I will be fine. As long as we're inside the wooden domain of the fox, it'll be able to withstand the power of it," came the reply of Naruto, surprising Kurama that even though he could feel Naruto's hectic emotions, "I guess that Umbu training really does help. He's gotten a lot better at keeping calm. If this was him a few years ago, he'd attack blindly and be killed. These 2 aren't armless Orochimaru and his goons. They'd beat him if he was just going off of blind rage," thought Kurama about Naruto. Naruto allowed the head of the fox to open, allowing Naruto and Yujito entrance as it closed them within its head. The raisin gun eventually finished forming as the fox aimed. No matter where it sent it out, the ball would explode and take anything inside the barrier with it. "Deidara, be ready!" shouted Sasori as he had pulled out a scroll earlier that just dispelled, summoning 100 puppets in red cloaks around them. All the puppets then activated chakra shields and surrounded themselves Sasori and Deidara as Naruto's fox opened its mouth to release its jutsu. "Senpo, Rizenho, Sage Art, Spiraling Cannon," said Naruto as his fox blasted a violent wave of energy. The barrier held firm like Naruto said it would as it expanded upward to allow the jutsu a small escape to keep the barrier from collapsing at its strength. Smoke billowed out everywhere as the inside of the cave was shrouded in it. Inside the smoke cloud, Naruto's wooden fox held firm to the jutsu as Naruto and Yujito came out of it unscathed once the jutsu began to die down. "Yugi-chan. They are still alive. And one of them escaped," said Naruto as the smoke began to leave the cave. Naruto's clones dispelled themselves, ending the barrier that surrounded them. "Kakashi-sensei and Sakura-chan are outside. Go with one of them," preferably Kakashi since the poison user is in here and Sakura would be of help here against him. Please hurry and be safe. Yujito nodded her head as she began jumping out of the cave to get out and chase the escaping Deidara. That was the scene Kakashi and Sakura arrived at to see smoke coming out of the cave along with a man on a clay owl and Yujito cloaked in a blue cat shroud in hot pursuit. Yujito stopped for a second to acknowledge the two new arrivals. Kakashi-san, come with me. We're going to get him, while Sakura-san goes in the cave to help Naruto with Sasori. Let's go. Came the voice of Yujito as Kakashi and Sakura nodded their heads. Kakashi took off with Yujito as they pursued the fleeing Deidara while Sakura leaped into the cave to join Naruto. Inside the cave, that was an impressive jutsu, kid. It was able to destroy my Akahiji, Hayaki no Son, red secret technique, performance of 100 puppets. But I'm still here. Came the voice of Sasori, who was now revealed due to his first puppet being destroyed by Naruto's jutsu. Sasori was a man of average height with brown eyes and shaggy red hair. The weird thing about Sasori was that he looked the same age as Naruto, if not slightly younger. That doesn't make sense. I heard that he was an important fighter for Tsunade during the Third Shinobi War. That's how he earned his name Sasori of the Red Sands. So how could he be my age? Thought Naruto before he saw a pink blur appear behind Sasori. Doesn't matter now. Sakura's got him. Okasho, cherry blossom impact. Came the voice of Sakura as pink chakra swirled around her right fist. Sasori's eyes widened upon feeling the full force of Sakura's fist impacting against his back. Sasori's body split apart as it flew past Naruto, leaving him looking at Sakura. You okay, Naruto? He didn't get you with any of his weapons, did he? Kankuro had a mere scratch, yet he was close to dying. His poison was like nothing I've ever seen, said Sakura as Naruto shook his head no. Sakura then took notice of the red markings on his face. Naruto, is that Sage? Sakura was cut from talking as Naruto performed a shunshin beside her before spewing out a massive amount of water. Senpo, Suetun, Kyodai Tsunami, Sage Art, Water Style, Giant Tsunami. Thought Naruto as an immense wave of water rushed out at Sasori, who was somehow back intact after being split apart by Sakura's punch. Sasori upon standing fired out 2 streams of fire from his palms at Naruto and Sakura. Naruto felt him activating it and in turn, used his own jutsu that easily trounced the streams of fire from Sasori while sending him washing away with the powerful wave of water. We need to hurry. Even though I'm sure Yugi-chan and Sensei can handle the other guy, I'd rather know for sure, said Naruto standing atop the water. I agree, Naruto. But we need to find his weak spot. There's no way anyone, even you, would be able to take a direct hit from my punch and still be able to move, said Sakura as she and Naruto stared down the emotionless Sasori. It's clear that he's just a puppet, but there has to be something powering him. You're right, Sakura-chan. I think I already know what it is though, said Naruto before whispering something in Sakura's ear. A nod from Sakura later, and the 2 jonin of the leaf took fighting stances as they prepared to face off against Sasori once more. It's time for me to show you the strongest Kekai Genkai in all of Suna. Setetsu, Iron Sand, said Sasori before pulling one of the scrolls off his back. The scroll disappeared in a poof of smoke as a puppet took its place. This puppet is the strongest Kazekage in history, the Sandaime Kazekage. Well, that makes it interesting, said Naruto as a trail of sand seeped from the mouth of the puppet. The sand then began to form a line in front of the Kazekage before protruding with ball-like structures. Setetsu Shigur, Iron Sand Drizzle, said Sasori as dozens of balls of iron sand rocketed toward Sakura and Naruto. Sakura never moved as Naruto slammed a palm on the ground. A gigantic hand emerged from the ground, big enough to protect Sakura and Naruto from the iron sand attack. Mokutan, Hote no Jutsu, Wood Style, Laughing Buddha Jutsu. Thought Naruto as several more gigantic hands appeared out of the ground around Sasori and aimed to smash him into the ground. Sasori wasn't having that as he prepared another of the Kazekage's jutsu. The iron sand compressed itself into a large sword that the puppet Kage used to slice the hands before they could reach him. Setetsu Keshu, Iron Sand Gathering Assault, said Sasori as the hand thudded on the ground. The hand that protected Naruto and Sakura in the first place fell back to the ground, revealing only Sakura, who had her arms in an X. Sakura dropped her hands as her skin turned a bright red. Hashiman Tanku, Simon Kai, 8 Gates, Gate of Life Release, said Sakura as her eyes gave off a pink glow. Sakura then disappeared in a feat of speed as she approached Sasori. Sakura was certainly no pushover nowadays. She trained hard during her time under Tsunade, and even got some help from Rock Lee and Guy Sensei. After a long time training with the two, Sakura now had access to the 8 inner gates. She couldn't go higher than 3 gates at the moment, but to get to 3 gates is still better than what most could ever hope to accomplish. Not to mention the fact that her speed and strength are amplified due to the gate's influence. And Sasori certainly wasn't expecting the change but defended against it accordingly. Sates Sakaiho, Iron Sand World Method, said Sasori as the iron sand began to branch out rapidly around him, creating a web of iron sand that made it difficult to navigate through. The web nearly caught Sakura before she stopped to avoid the deadly sharp branches. Sakura could also see traces of poisons in the sand, meaning that one nick would be enough to kill. Since Sakura was caught, Sasori decided to finish her off while he had the chance. "Now die!" shouted Sasori uncharacteristically as the iron sand prepared to branch out again to skewer Sakura. Before it could though, Sasori felt a sharp pain run through his chest. The sand immediately fell to the ground as blood leaked from Sasori's chest. Sasori looked down to see a tri-pronged kunai sticking through his chest. Sasori turned his head around to see Naruto standing behind him with a kunai buried right into his heart, his only weakness. "How did you move so fast?" "You were nowhere near me," said Sasori, since he knew Naruto was behind Sakura on the wall, and there should have been no way that he could move that fast without him realizing it. "That was just a clone." "I was underground," said Naruto, who used Otan, Maruragakure no Jutsu, Earth style, hiding like a mole technique, to sneak behind Sasori. Naruto channeled wind chakra through his kunai before ripping it through the side of Sasori's body, killing him instantly. Naruto looked down at the puppet that once was Sasori before he pulled out a sealing scroll. After sealing Sasori's and the third Kazekage's bodies away in the scroll, Naruto nodded to Sakura as they took off to catch up to Yujito and Kakashi, who had gone to pursue Deidara. After a long run, Naruto and Sakura eventually caught Kakashi and Yujito standing around an explosion. "What happened?" questioned Naruto, looking at Yujito and Kakashi for confirmation. "We were pursuing him, and he just exploded," said Kakashi. "He just committed suicide. After I said that we'd capture him and get info out of him, he just stopped running away and blew himself up." "Wow, I guess members of the Akatsuki are committed," said Sakura as Yujito walked over and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Are you okay?" asked Yujito as the markings on Naruto's face vanished at the news of the other member killing himself. It took Naruto a moment, but he looked at Yujito. "Yeah, I'm fine. I just wish we could have gotten to Gaara in time to save him," said Naruto before feeling someone approaching the group. Naruto hadn't even noticed the person due to his attempt of getting to Yujito and Kakashi. "We still can," came the voice of an elder lady. "Do you still have his body?" asked the lady as Naruto nodded his head. "Who are you though?" questioned Naruto, not knowing who this lady was. "That's Chiyo-sama, an elder from Sunagakure," said Sakura, immediately recognizing the medic and poison specialist of Suna. Naruto nodded his head before biting his thumb and summoning the toad from earlier. The toad released Gaara from its mouth as it dispelled itself, leaving the body of Gaara on the ground before the group of shinobi. Chiyo looked at Gaara before taking in a deep breath and kneeling beside him. Chiyo placed both her hands on Gaara's chest as a blue chakra coated her hands and Gaara's chest. "What are you doing?" questioned Naruto, even though he could feel what was occurring. Gaara's chakra was beginning to come back. "Are you restoring his life? This is a kenjutsu that only I know these days. It's called Kisho Tensei, one's own life reincarnation," said Chiyo as she continued to pour her technique into Gaara in hopes of bringing the young Kage back to life. Naruto looked ready to say something, but Chiyo stopped him. "I know what I'm doing and I understand the consequences of my actions, but I've lived a long life and I feel my time was about up anyway. But Suna needs Gaara. And I'm sure with Gaara leading Suna, we'll be able to become a much better village because of it. Especially with a friend like you." Naruto nodded his head with a smile at Chiyo's words as he could understand. He'd probably do the same if he was in her position. The next day, Naruto stood outside the village of Suna's walls with Yujito, Kakashi, and Sakura as they stood in front of Gaara and his Suna contingent of Temari, Kankuro, and a few others. They were all saying their goodbyes after attending Chiyo's funeral. Gaara made a full recovery after Chiyo's jutsu, which cost her her life in exchange for Gaara's own. Even though Gaara was alive again, he still lost Shikaku to the Akatsuki and was now no longer a Jinchuriki. Finishing off their goodbye, Naruto and Gaara shook hands as the surrounding shinobi smiled at the interaction. "I'll see you around, Gaara," said Naruto as Gaara nodded his head before the group of 4 proceeded to walk away from Suna. "Unknown area." "Thank you, Deidara," said the spectral image of the Akatsuki's leader. Deidara's actual body was standing across from the image as he just relayed his encounter with the powerful Jinchuriki. "You are dismissed." After saying that, the image of the leader dissipated, leaving Deidara alone. The actual body of the image in front of Deidara opened his eyes as he looked to his right. "It seems that the Jinchuriki has grown incredibly stronger," said the leader. "So it seems," came the voice of a man in the shadows. "It would seem that even a god may not be able to stop him. No matter how strong the Jinchuriki becomes, he will never beat Pain," came the voice of a blue-haired lady donning the Akatsuki cloak. "You may be right. But what if I could help you?" questioned the voice from the shadows as it piqued Pain's interests. "What could you mean?" questioned Pain. "In due time." "In due time," said the voice from the shadows as the shadowed figure vanished. Chapter 22, Captured. "Naruto? Naruto? We need to go. Tsunade-sama is calling for us," came the voice of Naruto's pink-haired teammate, Sakura. Sakura was given a summons for a mission that Naruto was to be the leader of, yet he was busy messing around in Training Ground 22. Messing around with a kid in a spar. "One moment, Sakura-chan. I want to see what he can do," said Naruto as he blocked a punch with his palm. The person punching Naruto smiled at him as he dispelled in a poof of smoke to reveal the same person, a spiky, brown-haired 13-year-old, standing several feet away. "Kage Bunshin, Shadow Clone? When did you finally learn that?" "A while ago, about a year to be exact," said the ninja as he ran through 4 hand seals ending with the tiger seal. "And I also learned this. Katan Heizukisho, fire style, ash pile burning." The brown-haired kid spewed out an enormous cloud of ash that immediately consumed Naruto. Once it surrounded Naruto, the ninja clicked a piece of flint on his teeth to ignite the entire ash cloud in a fiery explosion. "Yes, I got him!" shouted the young ninja as he moved the scarf he was wearing away from his Chunin vest. The young teen was wearing the standard outfit of Konoha, except with black instead of blue, just like his hero, idol, and rival, Naruto. He also added a red scarf with the kanji for monkey written down the length of it. This was none other than Sarutobi Konohamaru, recently promoted Chunin of the Leaf. Konohamaru had grown up well. Due to his private tutoring with Ebisu with his 2 teammates Moegi and Udan, Konohamaru became a genin at the age of 12 and 1 year later, won the Chunin exams in Kumo. This granted him a promotion to Chunin for his skills. Like all members of the Sarutobi clan, Konohamaru was skilled in fire manipulation and taijutsu. And of course, just like his grandfather, he was a budding bojutsu, staff technique user. As if. "I knew that wouldn't be enough to get you," said Konohamaru before biting his thumb and slamming it on the ground. "Kuchios no jutsu, summoning technique." A poof of smoke later and a monkey as tall as the 5'7" Konohamaru appeared. "Konohamaru. What's up, man? Need something?" came the surprisingly deep voice of what appeared to be a teenage ape. "Hey Yomna. Can you transform for me? I need to kick my rival's ass," said Konohamaru as his summon nodded his head. "Henge transform." Yomna poofed into a large staff with a red shaft and gold tips. Konohamaru snagged the adamantine staff right before slamming it down into the ground. A few seconds later, Naruto came flying out of the ground a few feet away, barely avoiding the end of the staff as it elongated and flew past his head. Naruto smiled slightly as he landed on the ground and Konohamaru retracted his staff back to its normal size. "What do you think, Naruto-senpai? Pretty good?" questioned Konohamaru with a smirk as Naruto nodded his head. "You're getting there. I'll have to ask Bie-chan, but you do seem like you're Umbu material. However, still not good enough to beat me," said Naruto as he placed his hands in the snake seal. "Mokutan, Mokusatsu Shibari no Jutsu, wood style, smothering binding technique," thought Naruto as a branch flew out of his palm directly at Konohamaru before diverging into a web of branches. "Oh shit," said Konohamaru as he smashed the first couple of branches with his staff but couldn't stop all of them. Eventually, Konohamaru was left tightly snagged in the branches as his staff dispelled itself in a poof of smoke. "No, so close. I'll find a way to get past your Mokutan. Just you wait, boss." "Boss?" Konohamaru looked around to realize that he was all alone in the clearing. "Boss, you got to let me down. I can't get out of this thing," cried Konohamaru as he struggled to get out of the branches. "Hokage's Tower, Tenchi Bridge?" questioned Naruto as he finished reading the mission scroll given to him by Tsunade. "Orochimaru will be there? Along with Sasuke probably?" At the name Sasuke, Naruto noticed Sakura's body gave an involuntary twitch. At least she didn't get somber about it anymore. Or maybe she already sort of knew what was going on. Did Bie-chan already tell her? I mean, she's pretty high up being an assistant of the Hokage. Maybe she already knows. thought Naruto before focusing back on what Tsunade had to say about the mission at hand. Yes, Naruto. We received intel that Sasori was supposed to meet up with the spy of Orochimaru's, but that was actually a way for Orochimaru to take out the dead Sunagakure, said Tsunade. That's why we're sending you. Since you were the one to meet Sasori and actually hear him speak and see what he looked like, you can transform into him so you can take out his spy and Orochimaru. While also trying to find out a lead on Sasuke. What happens if we find Sasuke-kun? Tsunade sure. Questioned Sakura as Tsunade shifted her brown eyes to her pink-haired student. Well, Sasuke is considered an A-rank nuke nin, unofficially. So you will handle it like any other A-rank nuke nin, capture him if possible. But if not, put him down. Bring him back, either dead or alive, said Tsunade with a stern voice as Sakura's face never changed. That's good, Sakura. Glad you're not too depressed about it still. Great, well, if that's that, then you two are good to go. I would send some more people, but I feel like you two will be enough for what could happen, and if necessary, you can always flee faster with just 2 people. Make haste as we only have 2 days left before our window of opportunity is up, and one more thing, be careful, said Tsunade as Naruto nodded his head. Sakura disappeared in a cherry blossom swirl and Naruto was about to follow before deciding to make a request. Actually, Bie-chan. Konohamaru has hopes of joining Umbu. Maybe I could take him along with me on this mission despite you only wanting 2 people to go. I've gone against him. He seems like he could handle himself in a fight and that he knows what to do and how to do it. But I'd like to see him on a real mission before I give him my recommendation. Is that fine? Asked Naruto as Tsunade thought over it for a second. His performance in the last Chunin exams was pretty good. Hell, he even won. Why not let the kid go along? But be sure to not let him hold you back. I'd like to see that this mission gets completed, said Tsunade as Naruto nodded his head again before vanishing in a flicker of movement. Training ground 22, how the hell am I supposed to get out of here? Shouted Konohamaru loudly as he was still stuck in Naruto's jutsu. Right as Konohamaru was prepared to give up, he heard 2 footsteps land behind him, followed by a palm being placed onto the ground. The wooden branches tangled snugly around Konohamaru receded into the ground as Konohamaru was released and landed on his feet. Hey, Konohamaru. I want you to go on a mission with me. You okay with that? Questioned Naruto as Konohamaru turned around abruptly with a big grin. Of course I am boss. This would be our first mission together, shouted Konohamaru with enthusiasm at the prospect of going on a mission with Naruto. What are we doing? I'll brief you at the North Gate in 30 minutes. Don't be late, said Naruto before disappearing in a simple flicker. Konohamaru stared dumbfounded at the speed of Naruto. That Shunshin was so fast. It's like he was never there, said Konohamaru before placing a hand in a half-ram seal. I need to get mine that fast. Konohamaru then disappeared in a swirl of leaves as he headed off to get ready for the mission at hand. 2 days later, Tenchi Bridge. Just so you remember. This is an A-rank mission, said Naruto to his teammates after landing in a clearing near the Tenchi Bridge. Our mission parameters are to ambush Orochimaru when he attempts to ambush Sasori. If possible, we are to capture him, and if not, we will kill the target. The same goes for his spy. Naruto's teammates nodded their heads at the mission, though Konohamaru's hands were trembling slightly. Orochimaru. He killed Gigi. I could care less about capturing him. If I see him, I'll finish him off no matter WH. Konohamaru. Came the voice of Naruto, stopping Konohamaru from his thoughts. I know how you feel. Gigi was precious to me as well. But if you let your emotions take control, then you will surely fail. Emotions are only helpful if they are controlled and concentrated. It's the same concept as a Rasengan. If you don't maintain the sphere correctly, the power will disperse over a wider area, significantly weakening the jutsu. But if you contain it, that's when you're able to do some damage. Konohamaru looked at Naruto with stars in his eyes as Sakura scoffed. What kind of lesson was that? It made sense, but he definitely could have found a better example. Or at least said it better, thought Sakura. Naruto then placed his hands in the snake seal. Mokutan Henge, wood element transformation, thought Naruto as the ground underneath him burst open with branches that surrounded him along with a smoke cloud. Once the smoke cloud died down, it revealed Naruto transformed perfectly into a copy of Sasori's puppet. How do I look? Came the gravelly voice of the disguised Naruto as he attempted to imitate Sasori's voice. Sakura mulled over it for a second before nodding her head. How the hell are we supposed to know? You were the only one of us who saw him like that, said Sakura with a tick mark as Konohamaru laughed slightly. Naruto laughed sheepishly. Right. Anyway, I will go out and meet this spy. After getting information out of him, I will attempt to capture him. Unless Orochimaru appears before I get the chance to. In that instance, I may or may not signal you two to come out and help. Even though I'm sure I could take Orochimaru, I'm not sure how powerful his subordinate could be. So be ready on my signal and only on my signal. Got it, Konohamaru? Hi, boss. I won't let you down, said Konohamaru as Naruto nodded his head. Alrighty then. It's time, disperse, said Naruto as the three shinobi of the leaf jumped to their different spots. Konohamaru and Sakura landed together in the forest overlooking the bridge while Naruto landed on a trail headed toward the bridge. Once he landed, he began to move toward the meeting place that was situated in the center of the Tenchi Bridge. With this strong breeze going right now, we should be able to move closer and still avoid detection, said Sakura before moving closer to get a better view of the bridge. This should do. Konohamaru followed her as he looked out to see a cloaked figure approaching Naruto on the bridge. There goes the spy. I hope this goes well and we get to see Orochimaru. I can't wait to get a crack him, said Konohamaru clenching his fist as Naruto made contact with the spy. On the bridge, it's good to see you again, Sasori-sama, said the spy before removing his hood to reveal ash-gray hair and round glasses. That combination was only prevalent on one known associate of Orochimaru's, Yakushi Kabuto. Oh, this is better than just getting Orochimaru, thought Naruto before responding to his spy. Kabuto, were you followed? Questioned Sasori as Kabuto looked behind him for a second. Kabuto turned back around to face him before answering. No, we're fine. How are you holding up? Kabuto exhaled a breath before pushing his glasses back. I still feel a bit shaken from when your technique was released, and I remembered who I really was. My mind is a bit clouded, as well, said Kabuto. I have questions for you. Tell me about his hideouts, and of that Uchiha boy. Kabuto nodded his head as he relayed all the information he had on those two subjects. Back in the forest, Kabuto's the spy, said a shocked Sakura at the revelation of Kabuto being the spy. I mean, out of all the people, Kabuto would be the last person I'd expect. Especially considering he's Orochimaru's right-hand man. Man, that Sasori guy who planted Kabuto must be amazing to get a spy that close to him. Orochimaru is no pushover and I wouldn't think that he'd be able to get duped like that. But since the spy is here, we should be starting soon, said Konohamaru, who was decked out in Umbu gear. In his hand was a white porcelain mask with red paint covering it that depicted a monkey's face. As Konohamaru placed the mask on, Sakura let out a small smile. Trying to join Umbu, huh? Questioned Sakura as Konohamaru nodded his head. I remember when both of my teammates did the same. You're not just doing this because Naruto did it, are you? Konohamaru shook his head as he turned to face Sakura. No, but I guess in a way my decision is influenced by Boss. I plan to join Umbu, get really good, and once Boss becomes the Hokage, he'll make me his right-hand man, Umbu commander. This means that eventually, I'll become Hokage once he gives up the hat to me. What makes you so sure that Naruto's going to become Hokage? I mean, it's not set in stone. Maybe he started Sakura before realizing what she was saying and seeing Konohamaru's porcelain mask stare. Never mind. Of course, he'll be Hokage. Whenever Shusho decides. I don't know what I was saying, finished Sakura as she noticed movement on the bridge. Boss! Shouted Konohamaru, preparing to jump into action at any time once the signal was given. On the bridge, if you hadn't pulled out that kunai, Sasori-sama, I wouldn't have been able to dodge in time. Came the voice of Kabuto, standing next to Sasori as they opposed a fearsome foe. Just the man I was looking for. Guess we can have a little bit of fun before I call over Sakura and Konohamaru, thought Naruto before he prepared to attack the Sannin before him. Kukukuku, Sasori. That outfit reminds me of the old days. Came the sinister voice of Orochimaru as he stared down at his former partner. Hope you don't mind if I intrude on this interesting conversation. Orochimaru, I see you've followed Kabuto, said Sasori next to Kabuto as Orochimaru laughed once again. Good eye, Captain Obvious. No need to be rude, I just thought I'd come and thank you, old friend. That is all, said Orochimaru as Kabuto's hand glowed a bright blue color. Kabuto then raised his hand before bringing it down quickly into the body of Sasori. Seems he was in on it all along, thought Naruto, leaping out of the destroyed wooden puppet with a cut on his right shoulder. Orochimaru then immediately went on the offensive at the airborne enemy. Senjutsu, hidden shadow snake hands, said Orochimaru before thrusting his arm forward. Out of his sleeve, several snakes came out of it at a blistering pace set directly at Naruto. The snakes wrapped themselves around Naruto before biting at him, though once the first bite occurred, Naruto turned into a wooden replica of himself. It seems trouble has appeared, said Orochimaru as the wooden Naruto landed on the ground, and the real Naruto came up from the bridge floor. I didn't expect to see you here, Naruto-kun. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't expecting you here, Orochimaru. And it's so good to see you again, Kabuto, said Naruto, who was wearing his own Anbu outfit sans mask. Though I did expect this ambush to be a little better. I mean really, having just Kabuto attempt to slice open Sasori, followed by that weak snake jutsu. I give it a C- at best. Kabuto pushed his glasses up with a smirk as he looked at Naruto. I'm impressed, Naruto-kun. For you to be here, especially disguised as Sasori, would mean that you've met Sasori, and somehow got him to tell you about this meeting, as he and I were the only two who knew of it. But Sasori isn't the type of man to divulge that type of information regularly, so that would mean you either bested him in battle and he told you, or maybe someone in our own organization told Konoha. But the latter should be impossible, as only myself and Orochimaru knew of this meeting. Deduced Kabuto acutely as Naruto shrugged. Orochimaru then grinned as he took notice of something. Why don't you bring out those other two pests that are hiding, said Orochimaru with a smug grin. Naruto looked for a second before pointing his finger in a gun-like fashion at Orochimaru. Not a second later, Sakura and the Saru, monkey, masked Konohamaru came lunging out of the woods and directly on the bridge between the two opposing parties. Sakura-chan, do you mind handling Kabuto? I'm sure Saru would like to join me in facing Orochimaru, said Naruto, to which Sakura nodded her head with ease. Of course. I heard about Kabuto's encounter with Tsunade-sama those years back. And he thinks that fluke of a victory is worth something, said Sakura, cracking her knuckles, reminiscent of Tsunade. I guess I need to show him that slugs are better than snakes. Kabuto's hands glowed a bright blue as his smirk never left. What makes you think I'd let that plan work? As if I'd let that plan go through without a fight. You'll have to forcefully remove me from Orochimaru, started Kabuto before he felt a presence appear between him and Orochimaru. The familiar swirl sound of a Rasengan sounded off before it planted itself neatly into Kabuto's back, sending him flying past Konohamaru and Sakura into the woods. Naruto then turned to face Orochimaru as Sara landed beside him. Let's do this, shall we? Said Naruto as Orochimaru grinned and took off into the opposite side of the woods. Sara took off immediately after him as Naruto followed behind the Sannin and Teenage Anbu. As this was happening, Sakura stood stock on the bridge alone. Well, I guess I'll go see if Kabuto is still alive, said Sakura as she walked back into the forest to find Kabuto, who was surely hurt by the Rasengan from earlier. With Naruto and Saru. Who is this kid? Thought Orochimaru as he dodged a flurry of punches and kicks from the young Anbu with practiced ease. Brown hair is common in the Leaf Village, but this fighting style. It kinda reminds me of Sensei and that Asuma kid. Is this boy Sensei's grandson? Orochimaru continued to dodge the punches with snake-like agility before lashing out with a kick of his own. As the kick connected, the Anbu disappeared in a poof of smoke. Kage Bunshin, Shadow Clone. This kid is good. Thought Orochimaru as he felt a presence appear behind him. Saru landed on the branch of a tree behind Orochimaru as he ran through 7 hand seals. Ram, horse, snake, dragon, rat, ox, tiger, thought Sara as he flew through the seals for his technique. Katan, Karyu Enden, fire style, fire dragon bullet. 3 steams of fire flew from Sara's mouth, one directly at Orochimaru and the other 2 at a 45-degree angle toward Orochimaru. The head of the fire streams turned into large dragon heads as they converged on Orochimaru. All 3 fire dragons converged on Orochimaru at the same time as he was sent careening toward the forest floor. One thing about Sara's jutsu was the heads of the dragons each held an explosive note. A powerful explosive note, and once Orochimaru hit the forest floor, they detonated in an enormous explosion that leveled a massive chunk of the surrounding area in a large dome of fire. Naruto landed beside Saru before whistling at the display. That was pretty nice, said Naruto, patting Saru on the back. Though next time you should really take notice of when you're battling a clone. The fire died down as Orochimaru rose from the soot-covered ground, unharmed from Saru's previous jutsu. Kukukuku. Seems Konoha has another promising ninja in its ranks. A Sarutobi it would seem, said Orochimaru in a calm voice, displaying no fear in the face of Naruto and the impressive but non-worrisome Anbu beside him. Though if that's your best, you'd never be able to kill me. Let alone get Sasuke-kun back. Whoever said we wanted Sasuke back? We're just here to capture or kill you and Kabuto, that was the mission. Finding Sasuke would be just a bonus, said Naruto as he landed in the destroyed area in front of Orochimaru. Sara landed next to Naruto as Orochimaru laughed again at Naruto's statement. Kill me? I'd like to see you try, Naruto-kun, said Orochimaru mockingly before laying flat on the ground and opening his mouth sickeningly wide for his next jutsu. Mandara no Jin, formation of 10,000 snakes, said Orochimaru as hundreds, thousands of snakes poured from his mouth at an alarmingly fast rate at the two Konoha nin. Halfway to the two, blades began to protrude from the mouths of the snakes as they pointed them directly at Naruto and Saru. What an impressive amount of snakes, thought Naruto before slamming a palm onto the ground. Mokutan Kuchios, Hori Nikashokabatsu, would release summoning, burrowing carnivorous Buddha. The ground rumbled in front of Naruto as the snakes approached. Right before reaching him, though, the ground opened up to reveal an enormous plant that took the shape of a Venus flytrap with 4 sides, which proceeded to gobble down the approaching snakes with one bite. Though it managed to eat all the snakes, the swords that came out of the mouths of the snakes were poisonous, and as such, the plant creature began to feel the effects of the poison immediately, prompting it to dispel a few seconds later. Why not just blow him away and be done with it, Naruto? Came the voice of Naruto's partner, Kurama. I grow bored of seeing this snake, yo Kurama. I feel you on that. How do you think I should do it? Questioned Naruto back to his partner before feeling Kurama's chakra flood his system. Of course you want me to just blast him away with pure power. Well, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. A vibrant orange chakra shroud surrounded Naruto as 4 tails appeared swaying behind him. Stand back, Saru. I don't want you to get caught in the crosshairs of this, said Naruto before going back to his internal partner. You want to do this? Don't mind if I do, said the now Kurama-controlled Naruto, whose eyes were now red and slit due to Kurama's control over his body. Kurama placed his hands in the tiger seal. Katan Kitsunbaimu, fire style, fox beam. Orochimaru noticed the chakra buildup from Naruto and decided to act accordingly. After biting both of his thumbs, Orochimaru slammed them both onto the ground. Kuchios, Senju Rashomon, summoning, triple Rashomon, said Orochimaru as 3 large demonic gates rose from the ground in front of him. A second after rising, the gate was struck by the powerful beam from Naruto. Once the beam hit the gate, it expanded to carve a massive hole through it. After going through the first gate, the beam continued to go through the rest of the gates before exploding once past the last gate. The explosion blew the last gate out of the ground as the area behind it was shrouded in a huge explosion of energy. Once the explosion died down, Naruto regained control of his body as he looked at the blast zone. The bottom half of Orochimaru's body was stuck protruding out of the ground comically as the top half of his body was gone. Why do I feel he's not done? Questioned Naruto. Naruto was proven correct when a sword came flying out of the ground at him from the mouth of Orochimaru's head that followed it. Luckily Naruto was fast enough to sidestep the blade before holding a palm directly in front of Orochimaru's approaching head. A Rasengan appeared in Naruto's hand in a split second as Orochimaru crashed directly into it, blasting his head clean off. Naruto and Saru waited for a few seconds as they realized that Orochimaru hadn't moved yet. A minute later, Saru took off his mask to reveal his young Sarutobi face. I guess he's done. That's the end of Orochimaru, said Konohamaru as Naruto nodded his head. Let's go check on Sakura. While Konohamaru took off, Naruto stood staring for a few more seconds before eventually deciding to follow Konohamaru back. Once Konohamaru and Naruto were gone, the bottom half of Orochimaru ripped open to reveal another Orochimaru. Kukukuku. Seems that boy has gotten powerful. But once I absorb Sasuke-kun, no one will be able to stand up to me, said Orochimaru as he turned to leave. Sorry Kabuto, but I guess your services are no longer necessary. Maybe if you're still alive, I'll come and get you. If not, Orochimaru then disappeared in a shunshin as he left the area. The next day, we may not have gotten Orochimaru, said Naruto, walking beside Konohamaru and Sakura. Naruto then looked at the tied-up and sedated Kabuto on top of the slug Sakura summoned. But at least we got the next best thing, and we killed Orochimaru too. Don't forget that, said Konohamaru as Naruto nodded his head. Konohamaru went to pat Naruto on the back but Naruto dodged it. What's wrong, boss? You alright? I'm fine, Konohamaru. Don't even worry about it, said Naruto before Sakura realized something weird about the Naruto before her. Naruto, said Sakura in a sweet tone. You wouldn't happen to be a clone. A clone that's taking the place of the original just so he can go to Kumogakure to see Yujito, are you? Naruto put up placating hands before blowing out a sigh. Do you want the truth, or at least started Naruto before getting decked by a punch from the irate pink-haired Kunoichi. Naruto! shouted Sakura angrily as Konohamaru had to cover his ears at her shrieking. Same time, just outside of Kumo. Scouting mission? Questioned Naruto walking beside the pretty blonde Jinchuriki of the two-tailed monster cat, Yujito-ni. What's so special about this place? Yes, a scouting mission, Naruto-kun. Just because I'm a Jinchuriki doesn't mean I don't have to go on scouting missions. I'm one of the best at it, and I actually like scouting missions, said Yujito, turning her head to look at her boyfriend. Plus this is the site where several of our shinobi have gone missing at, so Reikage-sama wants me to check it out. Naruto groaned a little, letting his shoulders slump. This is going to be boring, said Naruto before feeling a hand lay on his cheek. I know you were expecting to just have a great couple of days with me, but don't worry, once this mission is up. I promise I'm all yours after when this is all over, said Yujito as Naruto perked up slightly. Yujito then deeply kissed the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, sending him blissfully to the ground once she released it. Now you just rest here and I'll be back in an hour or so. Yes ma'am, said Naruto with his eyes closed as Yujito turned around to continue walking. Hey Yudi-chan. Yujito was about 20 feet from Naruto when she stopped hearing Naruto call for her. Yes Naruto-kun, said Yujito, turning back around to see Naruto, now standing in front of her with a smile on his face. I love you, said Naruto, deeply kissing Yujito before moving his head back. Be careful. Yujito smiled back at Naruto, internally giddy at Naruto's words. I love you too, Naruto-kun, said Yujito as Naruto was now laying back down in the spot he was in before, 20 feet away from her. Yujito turned back around as she continued to go and begin her mission, happier this time. A little over an hour passed as Naruto sat up into a lotus position. I wonder how strong my sensing ability is when using Sage mode. Yugi-chan has got to be several miles away, but I should still be able to reach her, especially considering she'll be walking back. Thought Naruto, that Sage mode of yours might make it to her. But are you really going to use that power just to spy on your mate's chakra signature? Said Kurama in Naruto's head. Naruto looked sheepish at being caught like that. You can't tell me that you wouldn't do the same? Questioned Naruto back to his partner. I'm a being of pure chakra, given form. I don't have the same weird thoughts as you, if I do even have thoughts for that matter. Outside of your body, I'm considered to be just a rampaging beast that destroys everything in my path. So, I guess I wouldn't do the same as you. I have no clue what to think if I do think at all. Damn. That's dark. I think you have thoughts, Kurama. Just because you're a chakra construct doesn't mean you don't have thoughts and all that. You're one of the wisest beings I know, person, animal, or chakra construct. There's no way you don't have thoughts. Replied Naruto back to Kurama. I hope you're not believing what some shinobi said to you in the past. Forget him. You're Kurama of the Leaf and my partner, along with my oldest friend. Plus, I know you want to find out how strong this is anyway. You're right, I do. Fire that Sage mode up, said Kurama with a grin at Naruto's words. And friend. Pfft, as if I'd want to be friends with you. Wait, am I thinking right now? Thought Kurama while Naruto smiled and nodded. Naruto then placed his hands on his knees before closing his eyes for a second. The trademark red markings of his Sage mode began to appear on his face before he opened his eyes to reveal his golden sage eyes. Great, now to find Yudi-chan, said Naruto as he began to scan the surrounding area for his girlfriend. Maybe I'll surprise her when I find her. Continuing his scan of the area, Naruto couldn't locate Yujito's chakra signature. That's odd. You have to have covered this entire area. So where is she? Questioned Kurama as Naruto couldn't answer him. Well, let's go find her then. You never know, maybe something bad happened. Naruto stood up before rocketing off the ground in a powerful leap. Naruto came down in the center of the town that Yujito was searching in. Upon landing, Naruto closed his eyes to focus more on his sensing ability. After a few seconds, Naruto panicked slightly when he felt Yujito's chakra signature nearly a mile away, surrounded by two other chakra signatures. Akatsuki travels in pairs, said Kurama as Naruto's eyes widened before he took off in a series of shunshin to where he could feel Yujito's chakra. Naruto appeared outside of a sewer-like area that was closed off due to a ton of rocks. Someone must have blocked off the exits in hopes of keeping the battle closed, said Naruto before creating an enormous Rasengan in his hand. Senpo, Otama Rasengan, Sage Art, Big Ball Rasengan, said Naruto before smashing the Rasengan into the side of the sewer, destroying an entire section of the sewer as he walked in with pieces of rocks falling on top of him. Who the fuck are you? Came the loud voice of a man with slicked-back silver hair. He carried a large triple-bladed scythe and had on a burned and singed Akatsuki cloak. You're ruining the ceremony I'm trying to accomplish here. Hide and calm down, That's the Kyubi Jinchuriki. Came the voice of another man, donning a perfectly conditioned Akatsuki cloak and mask. The mask obscured his entire face besides his eyes, which were green with red sclerae. He is not one to be trifled with, Naruto-kun. Came the voice of Yujito, cloaked in her blue chakra shroud. I'm glad you came, said Yujito. Naruto performed a shunshin to appear beside Yujito as he checked her for injury. Are you okay? Questioned Naruto, worried about Yujito. Of course I am. I've only been going against the guy with the silver hair, who is actually terrible at fighting. The other one decided not to attack though, so I've just been beating down on this guy, said Yujito, internally happy that Naruto was so worried about her. But he won't die though. No matter how much I hurt him, he just shrugs it off and keeps coming. He even said that he was immortal. Immortal? As in he won't die? Questioned Naruto, intrigued by the immortal comment. Before Yujito could answer though, Haiden decided to answer for her. Yes, I'm immortal. That's what happens when you follow Jashin-sama, said Haiden, placing his scythe over his shoulder as he looked at Naruto. Even you and your powers wouldn't be able to kill me, is that so? Questioned Naruto as Kurama decided to add his own 2 cents. That guy must really have a death wish. Just because you're immortal doesn't mean you can't be blown to a bunch of tiny little pieces, said Kurama as Naruto internally nodded to Kurama. Haiden, Leader-sama said that we are not to go against the Kyubi Jinchuriki. While I also feel the same way about his true ability, it would be wiser to not attempt it in the event he can actually kill you. I would love to see him try, Kakazu. I'd actually welcome it, forget the leader's warning. It's clear that whoever puts these teams together knows dynamics. That Deidara guy and Sasori guy seem to be opposites, as well as these two. One's a hothead and the other is calm and collected, said Kurama in Naruto's head. Yeah, he's smart in how many people are in his organization. Having a smaller number of people must make it easier to get stuff done while also minimizing failures. I wonder who this leader is that they speak of, said Naruto and returned to his bija as he placed a hand on the ground. Don't move, Yugi-chan. Shit. Haiden, run, said Kakazu, taking off down the sewer as a pink substance began to cover the floor. Kuchios, Gamaguchi Shibari, summoning, toad mouth bind. Thought Naruto, summoning the esophagus of a fire-breathing toad from empty Mayaboku. Haiden and Kakazu continued to sprint down the sewer as the pink flesh continued to spread out all around them. What is this, Naruto-kun? Questioned Yujito as she had never seen anything like it before. It won't catch them at the speed they are moving at. We'll have to go and hunt them down, said Naruto before answering Yujito. And it's a summoning technique that brings forth the esophagus of a toad from Mount Maiboka. Anyway, we have to catch them. Naruto then took off in a sprint to chase down the Akatsuki members. Okay, we still don't know what the other guy can do, so we need to be careful, said Yujito following after Naruto. After running for several minutes, Naruto realized that the Akatsuki members were long gone. How did they disappear so fast? That couldn't have been 2 minutes since they left, and there's no way they could run that fast to get away from us, said Yujito, noticing no trace of the Akatsuki members anywhere. I know. I was picking them up a second ago with my sensing ability and then poof, they disappeared, said Naruto, wondering the same thing. It's like they were summoned or something? A few minutes of investigating later, and Yujito decided to end Naruto's seeking. It's over, Naruto-kun. They came and then they ran. I'm not hurt, nor did they get to me. There's no need in trying to find them. As you said, they were summoned, so there's nothing your sensing ability could do to find them, said Yujito. Plus, this gives us the chance to start our time together. Naruto's sage mode began to fade as he smiled at Yujito's words. Yes, piggyback ride? Questioned Naruto before feeling the weight of his girlfriend land on his back and her head lay across his shoulder with her eyes closed. I'll take that as a yes. Sweet dreams, Yugi-chan. Halfway to Kumo, Naruto felt a finger poke his cheek. Turning his head in the direction of the poke, Naruto received a kiss on the lips from a now awake Yujito. What was that for? Questioned Naruto as Yujito smiled. You told me you loved me first, said Yujito with a small smirk on her face. Naruto's eyes widened in realization as Yujito's smirk seemed to widen with them. Nuh! Shouted Naruto as he continued to carry the beautiful Jinchuriki to Kumogakure. In a large tree several miles from Kumogakure, he tried to get us killed by attempting to face down the Jinchuriki, said Kakazu to the leader of the Akatsuki's spectral image. I did allow him to face the Nibi Jinchuriki alone when we may have been able to capture her faster, but even still, with the Kyubi Jinchuriki so close to her, it'll be difficult to get her, and even more difficult to keep him from ruining the extraction of her bija. I'd suggest taking the tailed beasts 3 to 8 before attempting to grab her. Kakazu, what the hell? How are you just going to start at Haiden before being silenced by the authoritative voice of their leader? Quiet down, Haiden. You made the right decision, Kakazu. Luckily I gave you each a rod that allowed me to summon you out of the area. If not, you may have had to go against that boy, said Akatsuki's leader. We will also follow your suggestion of taking the Nibi last with the Kyubi. Konan and I will handle those two. You two worry about capturing the Gobi at this point. Dismissed. Once the 2 members of the Akatsuki were gone, a swirl appeared next to the leader. Out of that swirl, a figure came stepping out. That boy is becoming a nuisance. But I knew this would happen considering his relationship with the Jinchuriki, said the figure as the leader nodded his head. Is that power you said you'd have for me ready yet? I'd like to get him out of the way now, said the leader before the figure shook his head. Almost. I'm working out all the details now, but if this works, I believe you'll enjoy 7 pairs of eyes on the battlefield rather than 6, said the figure before the leader widened his eyes in shock. In due time. In due time.